Good evening and welcome to the July 14th, 2026 Town Board Work Session. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Paul, why don't you lead us today?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could all remain standing for a moment of silence, I'd like us to say some prayers for late Senator Lindsey Graham, who represented South Carolina for 23 years in the Senate, passed away on Saturday. But to me, a little more important and closer to home, Robert, or as we knew him, Bobby Gage, who passed away on July 2nd due to pancreatic cancer. Bobby spent 36 years working with the town. He was our deputy highway superintendent, and for those that you knew him, didn't have a bad bone in his body. He was a great guy, great friend, and will be sorely missed. Thank you.
Is Kim still living in Yorktown? Is Kim still living in Yorktown?
I believe so. All right, before we jump into the public hearing, Susan, you wanted to make a correction from last week?
Yes, last week I made an announcement about 5 affordable senior units at York Farms, and I apologize, I gave the wrong phone number because somebody tried it and it didn't work. So anyone who is interested in applying and getting on the waiting list, these are,
This one.
I'm sorry. All right. There are 5 affordable units for senior citizens at the York Farms development that's down on Baldwin Road, okay? And there'll be a waiting list. The owner of the property is maintaining the waiting list at this point, while the Yorktown Community Housing Board is developing its own waiting list for rental housing. The number to call is 914-686-3474. Let me repeat that, 914-686-3474. Just tell them you want to speak to somebody regarding the waiting list for the affordable units at York Farms. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. All right, and as we had him lead the pledge, he'll lead off our public hearing. We're going to convene a public hearing to consider the establishment of Water District Extension Number 1. Paul Vasillo, our Superintendent of Water Distribution for the town. Thank you for the notice. Did we have any comments? No comments. Okay. Paul, explain what we're looking to do,
So
please.
the district is looking to expand the boundary to include 82 residential homes, 77 of which are out-of-district customers, and we'll see a 50% rate increase.
Decrease.
Excuse me?
You'll see a decrease.
I'm sorry, decrease. I
Decrease.
apologize. Decrease.
What are you trying to do? Increase our call volume?
Decrease. 5 of the homes are for future connection. Yeah, so
Can you explain in-district,
So
out-of-district?
an out-of-district customer pays $142.20 per 9,000 gallons. An in-district customer pays half that, which is $71.10 per 9,000. So an out-of-district customer, a yearly savings, assuming they use 9,000 per quarter, is about $213 a year.
And but what dictates the district? Where the district boundaries?
What are the boundaries?
Yeah, what dictates them? How were these arrived at, and why are we going to expand those districts
So,
or
well,
create an
Who's the guy with the
exception?
pencil that draws the funny lines?
I don't know, because the boundary that we have in place now, I'll use Glassberry as an example. Glassberry was built, I think it was early 2000s. And I know there was a fight to push to add them to in-district. I don't know why it was never done. And then Whitehorse was another one, which is right outside the district. I mean, literally, the house across the street is in district, and the one on the other side of the road is out of district.
Yeah, but Whitehorse is right smack in the middle of Croton Heights Road.
Right. So there's a house. There's an actual
everybody
house.
around them is in district.
There is a house on Croton Heights Road that is considered out of district. So
And so the district, in district, out of district, but in this case, they use everything the same, correct?
Everything is exactly the same. They're tapped into our system. The pipes come from in-district pipes. Everything is, they get the same service. It's just, they just pay a different rate.
So
It was a new road. I'm sorry, Pat, go ahead.
no, I was just saying you're basically normalizing it
Right.
for these 82 houses.
Right.
Okay.
And at the time, as Sergio just pointed out, it was a new road, and they were looking to, and they had to, it's almost like going into the sewer where you have a buy-in, correct?
Yes, right. So all these residents paid their tap fees, which out of district is $10,000. So they bought into,
Right. Similar to the sewers, so, all right.
It was a new road, and it just didn't get added, and we're trying to correct that now.
right.
Okay.
And you said that we had Whitehorse, and we have the Canterbury,
The White Horse, Glassberry.
oh, Glassberry, I'm
Yep.
sorry, not Canterbury.
There is Marley Court, which is part of Berry Estates in Croton Heights. That you have, what is it, Sunset, I think, is part of Berry Estates. They're in district. Marley Court is off of that development, part of that development, and 4 houses are considered out of district, so they'll be added. The 5 homes on Hanover are across the street from Cat Hill. So Cat Hill is in district, but the 5 homes on the opposite side are, for future connection, we added to the in district.
Great.
But that whole area is in district except for these outliers, right? I mean,
Right.
the entire block, as they say in the Bronx, is part of the district, right? So
Right.
even my house, I live by there, so I'm
Yep.
in district as well.
Yep,
So it's
you're in
just
district.
odd that they're not, right?
Right.
Okay, so we will open to public comment. You come up to the podium, address the town board, please introduce yourself when you come up, and we'll be set to go.
Hi, I'm Nancy Harper Kelly. I live at Glassberry Court. So I want to start off by saying we're very happy.
Nancy, I'm sorry, you have to
I'm
address the
sorry.
board. That's okay.
We're very happy to hear this news and just comment that I've lived there for 18 years. And we worked very hard to try to get this resolved for a long time. So we'll take it, but it's been a lot of money that's been spent that probably didn't need to be spent. So that's personal comment. But I'm here because I just want to mention a little housekeeping, I hope, issue on the list that we got of the parcels that's included, does not include our clubhouse. And I just want to make sure.
Okay, Nancy, you could tell us.
Okay. We just want to make sure that our clubhouse is included on this gift that we're getting, because our irrigation system is through there, so it's a very important piece. We just want to get it on the record that it is not on this list, but on the design that was sent to us.
Sure.
Catherine Street is part of it, but
But it ought to be, right? It
Sorry?
ought to be. It ought to
Paul,
be. there.
We hope so.
Paul's nodding his head that it'll be taken care of.
okay, great, thank you, and that's all I want to say, and thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Nancy.
Better late than never.
You could address Paul.
Yes. So it wasn't sent to the clubhouse because it was not part of the notification. Who's there to get the notification?
Gotcha.
But once the boundary is changed, it will be considered in district.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you for your work on this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Anyone else with comment?
I don't have a comment, I just have a question. So, Jan Mirchandani, one of you, I think, Sergio, if it was you, said, how are the boundaries established? I didn't hear a clear, at least in my head, a clear answer to that. Because my question is, how do we avoid this in the future if we're building developments and there's like little extraneous pieces that are getting left out? What's the policy in place, or what's the procedure in place that makes sure that everything gets encompassed in these new boundaries? So that's my only question. Thank you.
Paul, you want to address that, or?
So the boundaries,
They're pretty arbitrary, I believe.
yeah, right. So it's all broken down into separate districts, but the boundary has been in place for a while. I know they increased it when they built Hanover East. They added Hanover East into it. So as developments have been getting put in, I guess over time they have been getting added to the district. I can't answer for prior administration as to why Glassberry hasn't. I can't answer that question.
Yeah, it's before, I think, all of our time. Susan, were you there when Glassberry was
It was
built?
even before my time.
There you go. So, once again, we're trying to correct the sins of our fathers.
Right, or trying to clean it up.
Yep. No, that's fine.
So there have
Thank
been
you.
other new developments that have been included. These are just kind of some outliers that
Right.
Not outliers as far as boundaries, just that they were missed or looked,
I think,
something.
I think part of it is where they lie, like the Glassberry in particular lies right on that Cortland border. And maybe it had something to do with that back in the day, so.
Yeah, like I said, I know there was a push to try and add it. I don't know why it wasn't.
I thank you for the work and making sure that I was aware coming in that we were able to work together and move this
Oh,
forward.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Hopefully move it forward. We'll see. There still has to be a vote. If you want, you can address through the mic, please. Once again, no, you have to come up. Have to come up.
It's procedural.
Otherwise, we get yelled at by the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
Hi, I'm Dana Laporta. I also live in Glassberry Court. When can we expect this new change to go into effect?
Paul, would it be the next billing cycle? Yes. Yeah, next billing cycle,
Thank you.
providing it passes a vote. Let's not assume.
You can start
You
planning
can come
on,
up.
you can start planning on using your savings.
Has to be filed with the state.
Guys, if you want to speak, you could form a line, and then,
How long would the stay take?
Good evening, guys. My name is Peter. I live off of Hanover. New to this whole process. Was wondering if somebody can kind of spoon feed me in terms of what the steps are, like what's the voting situation, any increase in property taxes or anything like that if we're hooking up, if there's any costs outside that we are going to incur to hook up.
So
Well,
you already have city water, don't you?
No,
don't?
I'm on that Hanover that was not part.
Do you have a
Oh, that
well?
Hanover.
Not part of the cool club.
Do you have a well?
Yeah, I'm on
Okay.
a well. One of the 5.
All right. So, Paul, why don't you jump up about the hooking up part, and then we'll.
Okay, so Cat Hill only took the main to a certain part, a certain point on Hanover. We will be making that connection. It's in the process of getting figured out now.
You have to extend the main.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like 700 feet. So there'll be, as of right now, I think 2 of the houses are able to tap that Cat Hill water main. The tap fee being that you moved back to in-district would be $1,200
Instead of
instead of $10,000.
$1,000.
But the time frame is to be determined.
Depending on which house, because like I said, 2 of the houses out of the 5 can hook up to that Cat Hill main now. Like I said, we will be running that 700 feet to make that connection.
So Peter, basically, they have to expand the infrastructure, and then you're going to be able to hook up, and you're going to have a hookup fee of in-network $1,200 to hook up into the main new infrastructure.
Okay.
I'm guessing the 2 houses.
You have to come on, Tim.
You got to come.
It's for the people that are watching on TV. They can't hear you.
So I'm
That's
guessing the
whole
2 houses that are readily available to hook up is the ones right at that corner there.
I wouldn't know without looking at the
corner?
map.
Coming from Croton Heights,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's the first 2 houses,
Yes.
and then the other 3 are going to be.
It'll be some time, but I'm hoping for next year.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks.
No problem.
Now, the original tap-in fee, 10,000, that was probably because it was new infrastructure and now the infrastructure, but we are expanding the infrastructure slightly, right?
Yes, we will be, yes.
Okay, so
It was 10,000 because it was out of district.
right. But now,
The difference.
okay, but they're all within the district now.
They will be, yes, if
Okay.
it's voted up, yes.
So if the people on Cattle tap today, it would be 10 grand. If they wait, it'll be 1,200.
Right. Okay, thanks.
If it passes.
If it passes.
If it passes.
All right.
passes.
Anyone else for public comment? All right, I'll make a motion or ask for a motion to close public
I'll
comment.
make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we're closing.
Part where we pass it?
I think this is a part where we vote to pass it.
Let's hope.
Okay, so a motion to extend or establish Water District Extension Number 1.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So that'll be taken care of, and as the clerk just reminded me, we do need to wait for the state to approve it, so she'll send it to them, take a couple of weeks, and it should be, I think we're before the next billing cycle, still on that, right?
Can we say it passed now?
It passed.
passed.
Yes, you could say it passed.
So Peter, Peter, real quick, just so that you ask if there's any new taxes. The new taxes it's going to be the $72 a quarter. That's it. That's the in-network fee that everybody has to pay for 9,000 gallons. So
For you, that's when you hook up,
yeah,
right?
after you hook up.
Yeah, after you hook up.
All right, so we're now going to convene a public hearing to consider amending Chapter 300 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Zoning regarding Commercial Regional Center, CRC, Special District. That happens to be the Jefferson Valley Mall, looking to add language in. Oh, actually, Robin, while you're here, why don't you come up? Take care. Have a good night, folks. Thank you for coming in. All right, we have our notice. We have no comment. No planning objections. And no comment. Local determination. That's from Westchester County. And then we have Abaca with no comment, and Town Planning Board saying no planning objections. Unless you're going to bring one up now,
No,
Robin.
no.
Okay.
So this is for the mall zone to add uses because the town board explicitly lists uses for this specific zone. And we have some evolving tenants that want to go in that are really characterized not under retail, but more of indoor recreation and amusement center, and we thought that they should be added. We also did add brewery at the supervisor's suggestion, just because in Yorktown they are considered restaurants, but in other states they're not. So we want to know everyone to know that we're wanting them to come too if they want to come. So that's basically it.
Open for business, yes.
Pretty much, we're trying to like evolve with the changing mall scene,
Yep.
right? Which, the traditional mall is kind of like,
Right.
you know what's happening with traditional malls all over the country. And so we're trying to just adapt to what people want and what people are coming in
Yeah.
and trying to do with them.
And a lot of malls now have these indoor play places
Right.
for kids, adults. The other thing was a golf simulator. So
It's odd
these
that it's
are
not
things
there,
that-
but in our zone, we have to
we have to
in
explicitly
this
say it,
particular
or
zone.
it's really not allowed. And so we might as well just add these uses in so they can come in and maybe revive our mall.
Well, thank you for your work on it.
problem.
We'll open for public comment. Anyone for public comment?
Not everybody at once now.
Matt looks mad because
There
people
you
people might go to the mall instead of the parks. All right. Okay, there you go. All right, so then, motion to close this public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and motion to add the entertainment, amusement centers, and breweries for indoor recreation to the list of permitted uses in commercial regional center. I have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wow. Tom, you told me to talk fast, but I didn't think we'd get through 2 public hearings in 18 minutes.
Let's see what Ken does.
Yeah, Ken will,
you gotta
Ken will,
jinx it, man.
Ken will throw a wrench in it. Okay, and now I'd like to call up Ken Belfour with his 2-hour and 45-minute presentation on Lake Day.
Don't you know you're never supposed to say that? Like when we're on the detail, you're never supposed to say it's quiet. It's quiet out here tonight.
Go ahead, if not, I already downloaded it.
But I need the code, and that's just not appearing up there right now.
Ken's already causing problems. He didn't even get up here 2 minutes. He's already
Okay.
causing issues.
6514.
Yep. We'll see if I succeed. Wait a minute.
Ken's just trying to hold everything up.
So while Ken
Yes.
does this, I will say that going to Lake Day this year was an absolute pleasure. I was really impressed by the morning session and how many people that were out of area or didn't live right in Mohegan Lake that were there. Saw my little buddy CJ who won the fishing derby. So it was really a very great experience this year, Ken, and very crowded compared to like the last couple of years in the morning, especially. So,
Yes, I think it was great.
Yeah.
We seem to have, the lake community seems to have outdid itself, and there was broader participation at almost every event. Starting,
And I do want to charge the mosquitoes for their meal because my legs still have welts on them from when we were talking at the beach at night there.
Well, I think I have a better one than that because, Mohegan Lake Improvement District had these 3 trifold displays.
Yes.
And I was moving them from beach to beach. And I think there was a bee that really liked one of the trifold displays so that when I tried to move it out of that beach, it stung me on my ear.
Oh, so I wasn't talking to Ross Perot? That was you?
You're on a roll tonight, boy. Oh my goodness.
I'm punch drunk from all the work I was doing today.
Now you're taking away my minutes.
Sorry, go on, Ken. Well, I said 2 hours and 2 hours and 40.
Ken's getting upset.
So
All right, Ken.
our theme this year that we picked was celebrating lake life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on our nation's 250th anniversary. And you'll see some things related to that theme as we go on. But the day started at 9:30 at Mohegan Beach Park at the Kids Fishing Derby, which Ed just referenced. And we had great participation there, more kids than we had fishing poles for. That was the only downside to that morning event. This was one of the kids who caught fish. You could see how much he wanted to touch that fish. I kept saying, "You have to hold it for the picture." And that was the expression I got. And there was the first prize winner, CJ, who caught 5 fish, posing with our own town supervisor.
All right.
I think it was to show that picture that Ed invited me to.
I didn't even know you had it.
I know. The next event was at 11:15 at Mohegan Highlands, and both of these, by the way, Mohegan Beach Park and Mohegan Highlands, are town park districts. Mohegan Highlands, this was the first of the kids' games. And this is always so much fun because kids of any age can participate. But you got a bucket of water with a sponge and you fill it with water and then you run down the field to the other bucket and you try to squeeze the water in and then you run back and you give it to the next kid in the row, and whichever team fills the bucket on the other side first wins. I think so much water was spilled that they had to stop the game and refill the first 2 buckets before they could finish this year, but kids have a lot of fun with that. And of course, with they do this annual water balloon toss as well. So that was kids' games at Mohegan Highlands Beach. Then we got to the next event, which was Lynn Briggs, but there was a serious problem with that event, and that was we couldn't get some of the kids to get out of the water to come to the event. But I also want to point out the yellow sign on the beach is for the water taxi, and the Mohegan Lake Improvement District operated a motorboat all day to take people between beaches. And that's getting used more and more each year as well. So here was our very own Lynn Briggs doing her What Do You Know About Rochambeau talk, and she set up one of her sample tents and did her presentation. And I have to say, despite the lake keeping some kids away from it, there were plenty who attended, and she got them actively engaged. I was really impressed with the way she did it, and I thank her. At every beach, we had this roving display of trifolds that I already mentioned.
Is this the one the bee liked, or is this not the one?
No, I think it was a nicer one that
It was the other one.
liked.
The bee's got
Yeah,
taste.
there
I
were
got it.
three of them, and we took them from beach to beach just as an educational aspect to a lake day. 1:15, the events moved to Lake Mohegan Park Beach. And this I took on my paddleboard from the water. Somebody said, "I can't believe you were confident enough on your paddleboard to be taking a picture while you were out on the water." I wasn't very confident. I was very shaky.
Lucky it's a picture, not a video.
Yeah, right. That event there every year begins with a march into the beach with bagpipes and a drum. The Merriam family is a great family in that community, and Joe Merriam is on the bagpipes, and his son Lawrence, who also happens to work part-time for the Mohegan Lake Improvement District, and he had to abandon his post and go run home and change his clothes to do this, and then he came back to work for us. But it's a great spirited thing. They also have had a number of years a Thai dance performance, because one of the members of the community is from Thailand and is part of this dance troupe. So they're dancing to the music, and it's really very nice.
I caught that one a couple of years ago. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. And this is also part of that, but you see that weird thing in the middle between the two performers that looks like a xylophone or something, but she played it with two drumsticks with like round ends, and that was really cool also. I didn't include one of those pictures in there. They also had, I forget what they called it, but they had ethnic foods from all around the world that different members of the community had contributed under two tents. Oh yeah, they called it the melting pot. So I tried like pink noodles of some kind of Asian dish.
Be careful on business infringement. There's a restaurant called the Melting Pot. It's a fondue place. So.
Uh-oh. I've been there in White Plains.
Yes, yes.
My stepson asked for that for his birthday, I think. Yeah.
My daughter did one year too. So.
The other event at that beach that they do annually is Art on the Lake, where a lot of people display their arts or crafts. And they also did, this was a repeat from last year, but they did a little history presentation. They cut a large blue tarp into the shape of the lake, and then they put these little stations around those heart-shaped things with information on what was in a particular spot on the lake in 1880 or whatever. It was cool. And that's just me on paddleboard again, taking another picture leaving their beach. So this is just two other beaches, just to mention them. Alpine Beach, I'm not showing it here, but they did lawn games primarily for kids. You might be able to make out in the right side of that picture our wheat harvesting machine, because that's where we dock it. And Amazon Beach Park, this was the one glitch of the day. Unfortunately, Ranger Rick had to cancel that morning, so we didn't have the wildlife presentation, which kids love. A family came into the beach and said, "Oh, we came from New Jersey for our kids to see this." But they did. They put together really quickly that morning a very impressive scavenger hunt.
They did get away from New Jersey.
Yeah, that's.
Wow, and Lonnie just defends the state of New Jersey.
It's
One line, the entire state.
Now, with
Not that I disagree with you.
with fair and affirmative housing, it may be our goal to market broadly, but with Mohegan Lake Improvement District, we don't try to draw a crowd from New Jersey, but they're welcome, nevertheless.
Actually, my niece lives in New Jersey, in a very nice Chatham, very nice area.
And my nephew in a beautiful area. The end of the day, I think I might finish within the 2 hours and 45 minutes, was at the Mohegan Colony, which is the My Beach Association. And it started with a square and contra dance with Yorktown's own Liz Slade and a band she put together that consisted of a fiddler, a banjo player, and a guitar player. So it was worth it just for the music, but the people that participated had a ton of fun. And that was followed by the Kids Poster Contest. This is, I think, our third year in a row now with the Kids Poster Contest. And we made the kids present their posters. And I couldn't believe, I'm looking at these kids and their age, and I'm thinking, did they really do this? And do they know what's on it? But they were able to explain every fish and every fox and everything that they had a picture of, and even with some what they called fun facts about them. So we were impressed. After that was the Walkabout Clearwater Chorus doing their performance and sing-along, which is also always well received there. And then there was our annual Chinese Floating Lanterns, and that's usually the closing event for Lake Day, and gotten very popular. And if you want to ever feed mosquitoes, Ed, that is the event to do it at because I'm all bit up from that.
Oh, I was the end of it where I got bit up.
Yeah, well, that's when it
Yeah.
happens after dark.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm down there taking the lanterns out of the lake.
I saw you.
At the end, and that's when I get all bit up. But anyway, this year we didn't have the beautiful flowery
Lanterns.
floating lanterns that we've always had. So we had these kind of dull-looking square things, but we had a craft where people could decorate them with stamp pads and with magic markers of various colors. And you can see a sample of some of the decorations there. This is what it looked like out on the water with the reflections under each one. Normally a very beautiful, almost like a spiritual event doing this, and everybody gets quiet and it's just so serene, except this year. Boom. So there were some folks that had a big fireworks thing planned, not here, but at a next beach down for the July 4th, and because of the weather, they canceled it. So just as we put the floating lanterns into the lake, they started with their fireworks. So you can guess where everybody was looking during the floating lanterns. But it was a great way to...
It was very 250-ish, too, because it sounded like cannons going off over the lake. It was extremely loud.
So it was a cool fireworks display. And that's the way Lake Day ended. Well, there was a film and Q&A that we showed after dark on the handball courts after the fireworks.
So Ken, just so people at home know, like what you do for the lakes over there, he does the infiltrators, he does the ionizer, he does the pH balance, he does the phosphorus, people at home don't know how much you're involved with that, and you keep the lakes clean, and you get rid of the blue algae, which we have no idea what that is, but somehow you come up and do a presentation on it. But at home, people don't know how actively you are involved with it. And you do a great job.
Well, we color the algae as a craft. That's why it's called blue-green algae. No, and it's not me. There's a whole committee that makes up the Mohegan Lake Improvement District. There are 4 officers, and there's lots of volunteers, and particularly some that are much more scientific and talented than I am. But it's
You're the glue that holds them together.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I accept that I play an important role there.
But thank you.
It's challenging, and normally at this time of year in this weather, I dread Lake Day because I don't know what the lake's going to look like, and it often looks very green. And this year we've had a really unusual year. Knock on wood, exactly. I took pictures of the lake.
It was beautiful. The lake
this
was
morning.
the best I've seen it for a lake day,
And
to be honest with you.
yeah, and I really, we don't have an explanation, which really worries me.
No.
And it's not something specific that we're doing or that we did different. Even though there are different trials we're doing, there's an ultrasound unit that's being tried out that's supposed to prevent blue-green algae.
Well,
blooms
it's
from
the
coming
fruits
to
of
the
your labor. I mean,
surface.
you guys are really, really actively maintaining, and when you do these kinds of things in such a vast area, it takes time, and then suddenly it starts to click.
It has a
And
cumulative
you guys,
effect.
yeah, you guys are on top of this lake, and we appreciate it because it is a beautiful resource that we have here in Yorktown.
Yeah, it's a real hidden gem, but I wish I could believe what you've said. No one
You
on
take
the
a little
MLID.
credit, jeez.
No,
We're trying to compliment you up
we
here.
really
Will you
don't.
say yes
we
or
really
something?
think that nature has a lot more to do with the difference in conditions this year than last year, than anything different that we've done. And we'll see as the season goes on. We're looking at scientific data, and I'll share one little piece of scientific data that was on the display board that you couldn't really see, but. We look at water temperature and what's happening over time. So I just looked at June and July data. In June 2023, the water temperature was 60.8 degrees. June 2026, it was 77.9. And you can see the progression through the years. Same thing with July. July 5th, 2023, it was 69.4 degrees, the water temperature in the lake. And July 10th, 2026, it was 84.7 degrees. So we're seeing a trend, and that trend is not good for because blue-green algae loves really warm water to grow in, of increasing water temperatures. But that's statewide, if not worldwide as a trend. But just so happens the trend has been pretty dramatic in our lake just over the last several years.
Have you seen any years where it's dipped over, like, say, the last 10?
I'd have to look back and do that comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, Ken, I was kind of happy when I showed up, and I wasn't the only one in shorts. You were. And I'm like, Ken's not as smart as I thought, until you said that you were stuck wearing them through the day and you had to go in and pull out the lanterns, where I made the conscious choice to ignore Carol's good advice. And I went in with the shorts. So I guess I deserve my mosquito bites, and you were an unfortunate victim of being too busy. So, Ken, thank you so much.
Thank you for the
this.
opportunity to share.
No, and you know what? Do we know when Lake Day is next year?
We don't.
Okay.
But it's usually the second week in July.
Okay, so
Saturday.
hopefully we can all mark that on our calendars and make sure we get there. It was, like I said, a lot of fun, a lot of interesting things, a lot of educational, and kids and grandkids love the Lake Day.
Yes.
Please convey my thanks to your board and to all of the volunteers for all the tremendous work that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you. And for Lake Day, it's not our board, it's each individual beach and the people that run those community associations that put everything on, and I just go around and take credit.
And you do it well.
Are you in office somewhere, Ken?
So, no, it's really nice. And the way you guys, you're all separate, but the way you guys coordinate is unbelievable.
Yes.
It really is cool.
You're absolutely right about that.
I sent you a note that I was very sorry I missed the event. It was my sister's 75th birthday, and I was up celebrating with her. So
Yes, I got your note.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, we're going to go into our discussion topics today. We're going to start off with a proposal, Zarin and Steinmetz. We have a Downing Street car wash.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the Town Board. David Steinmetz from the law firm of Zarin and Steinmetz. Good to be back before your board. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to appear tonight. I am here in connection with 372 Downing Drive, which I think you all know is the currently vacant piece of property directly opposite Downing Drive, where the former bank was approved a number of years ago, sort of behind the cable building, and opposite where we all recall coming to a pause and trying to make a left when we left Turco's, and getting to that intersection saying, how am I going to get onto 118? I'm here tonight with regard to a proposed flagship car wash, and I'm joined tonight by the property owner, Steve Kushner from Hendon Properties, my partner, Jody Cross, Keith Werner and Robert March from Langen Engineering, Rich D'Andrea, our traffic engineer from Collier's Engineering, and from Flagship, Judy Knopp and Kelly Stelling. The property, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, is 1.7 acres. It is zoned for this particular use. The C3 commercial district allows for site plans and special permits for automated car washes, and we're here tonight to talk about Flagship and their desire to bring one of their flagship car washes to this property. Flagship, as Judy will explain, has 55, give or take, of its own car washes, and its affiliates bring the total number of associated car washes operated by this company to 230 nationwide. So this is not their first rodeo. They have done this. They find this site very appealing for a number of reasons. They are proposing a zoning compliant 11,500 square foot building, associated site circulation, which we will talk about, an extension of Downing Drive opposite where it is today. I'm very well aware, as our entire team is, that there is a kind of trailhead for one of the town's trails right there, traversing alongside this property. The proposal takes that into account. In fact, maybe one of the most important and significant things to talk about is how we do hope that this application can bring about significant traffic safety improvements and pedestrian safety improvements at what we all know is a critical intersection in the town. We have taken into account the trail. We know how we can bring the folks who use that trail far more safely across 118 than those who try to traverse it right now. We are also aware that there are some wetlands on site, a water course. Those exact environmental constraints were there 10, 12 years ago when the town approved a bank on the exact same parcel with a drive-through and a very similar circulation pattern to what we are proposing. One of the reasons that Langen was brought aboard, Langen Engineering, will speak to the issues of wetland mitigation, wetland current functionality, as well as how they can marry this together with effective stormwater management. Colliers was brought aboard because, as you all know, Colliers Engineering, both Dr. Greeley and Rich, are extraordinarily familiar with the town, the signals and intersections throughout the town, and together with Langen and my client and Flagship, we've all determined that there are ways to provide adequate vehicular and transportation improvements to bring this into the site. In terms of setbacks, again, I will let Robert and Keith speak to this as well as Judy. We believe we can respect all of the applicable zoning setbacks in connection with this. So we've got a culmination of wetlands issues we think we can address, vehicular circulation that we think we can address, and we have a wonderful, attractive zoning compliant use that I will let Flagship speak for itself as to why they believe it's an appropriate location. They have sought out a site in northern Westchester. They identified Yorktown as a marketplace that they would very much like to be in, and then they located this particular property. I should mention they are in contract to acquire this property. So Flagship and its entity is a contract vendee. And as some of you may know, tonight's appearance before your board was important enough that Steve flew in from California to attend tonight's meeting. We have formally filed an application with your board, but we wanted to start off at a work session to have an informal discussion with you as we begin this process. So with that having been said, Judy, if you would come up and just talk a little bit about Flagship, why you decided this was an appropriate location, and then we can get into the site plan.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Judy Knopp. I'm with Spotless Brands. Spotless Brands is the ultimate owner of the sites. Flagship, as David mentioned, is one of the brands that we operate, and that's the brand that we operate on the East Coast. So Spotless Brands started in 2020, and we acquired existing operating brands such as Flagship, and that's how we grew the business. So right now, Flagship has over 50 locations, primarily down in the DMV, which is where they started. But we did open 5 sites in New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
When you say DMV, just so I want to make sure that...
Oh, sorry. DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Thank you. Otherwise, everybody's going to think it's, New York State DMV, and that's never a good thing to mention.
Never good. Agreed. By the way, I am from New Jersey, but I did appreciate the commentary earlier. And DMV is a curse word in Jersey.
Parking lot.
My sister lives in Westchester. She relocated from Jersey, so she saw the light of the day, but I'm still stuck in Jersey. In any event, so Flagship does operate 50 car washes in the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We just started bringing the brand up to the East Coast. So we opened 1 in Long Island last year, 2 in Pennsylvania, and 2 in New Jersey. This year we're under construction with another 4 sites to open in New Jersey. I think 2 in Pennsylvania, and we've got a huge pipeline that we're tracking down. We do believe we are a premier operator. Flagship really has set the standard. The gentleman that started Flagship traveled all over the world, checking out car washes, always getting up to date on the latest technology, which is how we still operate our business today. And so we are keenly focused on being a good partner in the community, being a responsible citizen as far as the environment is concerned, and always investigating, the latest technologies and ways to efficiently run our business. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on is our customer service. And I don't know, David, if you want me to run through the plan, or we'll do
So
that.
before you run through the plan.
Sure.
Why Yorktown? Why this location?
Well, Yorktown is great. It's a beautiful community, clearly underserved as far as car washes are concerned. One of the things that we really look at is, demographics, of course, traffic, and the presence of retail, which is why this site in particular is so interesting to us. There's a lot of compatible uses in the area that are auto-centric as well, which would just obviously continue to feed into our success on an ongoing basis.
So one of the things, Judy, that I'd like you to cover before we get into the nuts and bolts of the details of the site and the site plan, your car wash, I know, is different from a typical car wash that many of us would be used to.
Yes.
Other car washes that may be in Yorktown. Could you explain that?
Sure. So like I said, we're always wanting to operate the most efficiently, and our eye is always on customer service and customer focus. One of the things that we do, I think that's different than a lot of the car washes that you guys are used to experiencing to date, is we are a fully automated car wash. We also have a program where we recycle through a series of reclaim tanks about 40% of our water, and we reuse it in the wash process. We also have oil water separator, which is the last stage of water that gets cleaned before it gets discharged into the system. And those are just some of the examples of what we feel we do better than most.
Do you want to talk about your wet belts and your dry belts, or do you want to have Keith and Robert walk through that?
No, that's fine. It's a little hard for me to see this far away from that screen, but I'll do my best. So on this particular site, this is what we call our full-serve operation. So the customer has the experience of having to do nothing for themselves at this car wash. So when they enter the site off of Downing Drive Extension, they'll circulate parallel to Sawmill River Road, page right on the plan, and then they will make a left to go back towards the rear of the property, and they will loop into the wet tunnel, which is the northernmost portion of the building on the plan you see. In the wash tunnel, they stay in their car. There's an employee of the car. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention the pay stations. So there's two pay stations rather at the bottom of the page. So when a customer pulls in, they get greeted by an employee of the car wash. If they're a member, they have a tag, and the gate opens and they go right into the wash tunnel. If it's not a member, the employee will explain the wash options and help them pay with their credit card or cash at the pay station itself. Nobody goes inside the building. Everything sort of happens at that pay station from a procurement perspective. Once they get through the pay station, they go into the wash tunnel. They stay in their car. An employee of the car wash directs them up onto a belt. So we have a belted system, which is basically like a platform. So you're not trying to line up your tires to the conveyor. You just pull up on this belt. But nonetheless, there's an employee who directs you to come in there. He has a sign, and there's notice boards that say put your car in neutral, don't press on the brake, etc. And the car automatically moves through the belt and the wash process. When you leave the wash tunnel, you can either exit the site if that's all you wanted to do for the day, and go back out into the Downing Drive extension and exit the site, or you can come out of the wash tunnel, make an immediate left, and get into a dedicated queue lane to go into one of two dry belts. In the dry belts, the customer does get out of their car, and employees of the car wash will vacuum the interior of the car, clean the windows, and do a final dry off. While that's happening, the customer is inside the building in a waiting area. When the car is done, they meet the employee at the end of the belt, get back in their car, and the employee directs them out of the tunnel.
And there's one wet belt and two dry belts, correct?
Correct.
Anything else different or unusual about your operation?
Not that I can think of. This is a unique concept that Flagship did develop, and again is operating down in the Maryland, Virginia area for quite some time. It's a little bit unique as we're realizing bringing it up the East Coast that people haven't seen. So sometimes it is a little bit confusing when we're presenting, or even for a customer for the first time, to navigate through the site. And that's why we take great care to make sure that we've got our employees properly trained. All of our employees are corporate Flagship employees, and the flagship operations team comes up and spends about a month training the employees of this site, who are locally hired, of course, on how to operate and how to interact with the customers.
With all the locations that you have, and how many did you say you have?
So flagship has about 55, and total across the country under all the brands is 230.
Are any of them, or how many of them, would be considered placed in the center of a town?
More than you would believe.
Well, yeah, I have a question of that.
Yeah,
on
I
that.
mean, I don't know what
It's
the
not.
count is.
It's not a typical use.
I mean, we have some
that-
that are in shopping centers, on pad sites. Like, we've got all different types. We have one down in the DMV that has a Chick-fil-A on the lower level and a car wash on the upper level. We've got all kinds of concepts.
In the center of a town?
Yeah, actually, that one is.
Because I can't read
Yeah.
the fine print. I'm assuming that to the left of your access road, that's the trail?
Yeah, and I think we're going to let Keith speak to that.
Okay, I just wanted to get my bearings, thank you.
Correct.
Are you proposing a light as you come out? Is there a light involved on 118?
So, great question. As you all may know, I know you weren't all on the board at the time, there was a light discussed in connection with the bank proposal 10, 12 years ago. At this time, the initial application that was filed by our team and our client does not have a light proposed. If in fact it is determined through the process that that is an appropriate mitigation measure and that should be done, my understanding is that that would be incorporated into the application.
All right, so have you guys driven that area anytime, as of late? Anybody? You know, I mean, the amount of traffic, it's a single lane. The only thing that would be appealing to me would be the light. None of this to me, to Lonnie's point, putting a car wash in the middle of the town, in the center of the town. I don't even want the gas stations there, to be quite honest. That's there. There's nothing I can do about it. But to me, this isn't a concept. I'm sure it's very beautiful. I'm sure it's fantastic. You know, I'd get my car washed, you know, at your location, but the location it's insanity. And you're telling me that you're not even going to have a light there. I'm not
And
sure.
Sergio, I didn't say that. So let's just be clear. I want to make sure my answer to the question was clear. It wasn't incorporated by our team as part of the initial application. We're completely well aware that there may need to be a light there. We have, as you all know, and as I hope you appreciate, Steve and Flagship hired literally the preeminent traffic engineers who do work in our county. So
I'm not a traffic engineer.
And Rich
there
is.
needs to be a light there
So-
for anything that comes into that spot. So
if that's the case, that's
the
what-
fact that we're gonna see what happens if we go through the process. For me, that's already a non-starter. But no problem. I'm willing to listen. And you're saying that this is fully automated, right? It's gotta so you're gonna have very few employees. So for me, I'll just be honest with you, I don't like the concept in the middle of the town. I just don't. I think we've had a discussion about
We
it.
have.
I've been completely honest with
You've
you.
been very candid.
Secondly, you know, when I look at a business coming in, I'm looking at jobs. There not going to be really many jobs that this is going to be providing because it's fully automated. So the jobs are going to be minimal. And I'm looking forward to seeing where parking is, but you know, adding that amount of traffic, because I'm sure your place is going to be very popular, in that location along the 118 corridor there is without even with a light, but let's hypothetically say without a light, possibly. It's just
that's secondary.
To me, it's insane.
So Sergio, so one of the things that I want to make sure,
willing to listen.
First of all, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to listen, especially after the candid conversation you and I both know we've already had. And all I can tell the board is, A, I'm not here for a rezoning. I'm not asking for something that's not otherwise permitted on the site. And you know that I know, and the amazing team I have with me understands that we have to jump through the hurdles correctly. So one of them is traffic mitigation, vehicular movement mitigation. If in fact it's determined that a traffic signal is warranted and appropriate, and Sergio's already concluded that, so maybe DOT and everyone else will agree with him.
They should.
I can tell you that the intersection improvements are, we estimate somewhere between $1,250,000 and $1,350,000 for what would be triggered by an appropriate crosswalk, left turn lanes, and a signal. So with that as background, it's important for your board to understand that if that is what's appropriate there, then that means the use that goes there has to be a use that is capable of absorbing that rather substantial off-site mitigation expense. There are very few uses, even if they have more employees, that actually can do that. This use can do that. So if in fact we're all here collectively to try to say, let's make sure that the trail is safe, let's make sure that crossing 118 actually can be done by a human being who is not a sprinter, and we want to have a use that's productive for the town, then this might be the right use. In terms of calling it the center of the town, I'm not here to debate. I'm here to make what is my personal observation from having lived in this town for 21 years and having served on boards in this town. That's 118. That's New York State 118. That is a state highway that backs and runs along, as we talk to one another candidly, behind one of the largest shopping centers in the town, alongside another significant shopping center in the town, passing 2 gas stations, and alongside a third smaller shopping center in the town. So it is a highway and it is a connector road. It is not a lovely, peaceful, walkable road in our town here. In fact, it's a connector road. So I think that's why some use like this decided, yeah, I probably wouldn't do this on Commerce Street, but doing it on 118 where a signal is potentially required, maybe the use actually fits there. So again, you all will have to determine that through this process. You've zoned it to allow for the use, and I for one think collectively we should be able to work together to bring a traffic improvement that the town's needed it for as many years as I could possibly recall.
So
and all I know is that we've never gotten it.
So I've been working on some, we've all been working on some type of streetscape for that entire area, and it may not be directly smack dab in the middle when you look at Google Maps of the center of the town, but it is pretty much in the middle of the entire Heights area, the entire commercial area. And I understand that it's zoned for it, and I understand that there are gas stations there. But when do you start reshaping, right? When do you start crafting something different? And I've had this conversation about something that was going down 202. A lot of people disagreed with me. Maybe they'll disagree with me tonight. Doesn't matter. I'm here. I'm here to tell you how I feel about it and what I think is appropriate, and try to do the right thing.
Totally,
so
and
I
I know that,
So,
and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, but let's continue, and we'll see what
Susan has a question, and then I want to
Well-
talk a little bit about the site.
I have lots of comments, and I was going to wait until you finished all of your presentations. Some of them are very germane to what Sergio said, and also Lanny's comments. But out of respect for your presentation, I will save them all and then give you everything all at once.
We appreciate that.
It
So
gets
with
so-
that, I'm
yeah.
going to turn it over, gentlemen, however you wish to do stormwater management and wetlands, that would be great.
So as David mentioned, I'm Robert March from Langen Engineering. I lead our natural resources team. I'm a professional wetland scientist. So I'll give you a quick overview of existing site conditions, particularly the environmentally sensitive areas. The site is wooded, as you guys know. There's about a half an acre total of wetlands and stream on the property that was field surveyed.
It's 1.7 acres, right? I've just
The total property, yeah, correct. Those areas are separated into 3 distinct areas. Keith, I don't know if you can flip to the wetland plan. Might be helpful for a visual.
You got room? You got room? What? You got room?
So you'll see a green area on the left on this plan, which is to the south. We're calling that Wetland A. It's an emergent wetland. It's about 2,000 square feet. It's dominated by invasive species. It appears to be a man-altered feature because it has cut banks. So I don't know if it's some historic disturbance has occurred there. So that's Wetland A. The stream that separates that green wetland from the green wetland to the right on the plan is an unmapped tributary to the Halleck's Mill Brook. It flows west to east or planned north to south, where it's culverted about 2,000 feet beneath the development to the east, where it makes its way finally to Halleck's Mill Brook. The stream has seasonal flow based on our observation. Both times we were at the site, it did not contain flowing water. There was standing water there, but nothing flowing to the culvert, which to me expresses the dynamics of the stream are very seasonal. So after a significant storm event, you probably see flowing water down it, but unable to sustain populations of fisheries or other aquatic life. To plan east or to the north is wetland CD, as it's called. That is also an emergent marsh. It's about 4/10 of an acre, also dominated by invasive species, namely Phragmites and horsetail, which are, typical of a disturbed area. There's piles of debris in there. There's old shopping carts. There's soil buildup. And it's worthwhile to point out that between the stream and that wetland is an embankment of soil. I don't know if at any one time the stream was excavated, but it created a barrier between the stream and the wetland. So you really don't have stream interaction with the wetland aside from a ditch along the roadway. So both features are very small in size, very limited functional value provided by either of them. You'll see on the site plan here, Keith, if you can maybe highlight in red or something, the project proposes impacts to Wetland A, which is the smaller one, again, about 2,000 square feet, about 300 square feet of Wetland CD, which Keith will highlight, and then the culverted section of the stream will extend into the development footprint by about 100 linear feet.
The wetlands are designated by the state?
They are not.
They're not, okay.
Nope. So we expect that the wetlands will be jurisdictional by way of federal regulation through the Army Corps of Engineers, which of course will seek their approval to permit the impacts. Based on current regulation, we expect the work will qualify for what's called a nationwide permit, which is basically a baked permit that authorizes certain thresholds of activities, in this case for commercial development, where impacts are less than half an acre. And in fact, mitigation would not be triggered by the federal government because it's less than 1/10 of an acre. That said, we are proposing mitigation to the tune of about 0.11 acres, which is about double of the size of the impacts that's proposed. And Keith, I'm going to ask you to highlight again. These are proposed in 3 areas by way of wetland creation, an extension of wetland CD to Plan East in 2 areas, and then, as Keith just highlighted, an extension on the west side of the stream.
Keith's a busy guy.
Keith's very busy.
He's coloring
doing
it in
great
for us and
artwork
everything.
over here.
Between the lines, Keith. Color between the lines, buddy.
So the ratio of wetland impacts to wetland creation are about 1 to 2, or 2 acre wetlands created to 1 acre filled, of course, at a much lower ratio, lower size than that. We haven't detailed the actual mitigation concept more than what you see here in area, but it will be, like I said, an expansion to offset in kind what's being lost.
So you can talk about stormwater management?
Sure.
God bless.
Oh, yeah, we can go through a couple pictures. That's all right. So this is the wetland A, which was on the left from the plan side of the stream. So Keith, I don't know if you can zoom in, but you guys can hopefully see in the background of the photo the cut banks where the trees start to grow. Again, that's kind of notorious for man-altered disturbance. I don't know that for certain. I don't have proof of that, but that's what it appears based on my 20-plus years experience. There's little, if any, interaction with the stream. Again, during high precipitation, you might have overbank flows into that area. but because of its small size, it's really not providing much flood storage. So that's what that one looks like. And then if you want to scroll down to the stream or CD, so this is the larger of the two wetlands. I'm not sure how many botanists or plant savvy folks are here, but that's Phragmites or common reed and horsetail. Very dense monoculture, takes over a lot of areas, not very pretty, and doesn't provide a lot of value to wildlife. And then finally the stream, Keith, if you can get to it. And here's the stream facing the road toward the existing culvert. You can see very little, if any, water. You see a little standing water where his cursor just was, but no flowing at the time of our observation. in
Which
this
was when?
photo. This was in November. Anything else? Okay.
The fact that we are a watershed for the Croton Reservoir, when you talk about wetland functionality and all of that, how do you? Well, you say you're mitigating by creating a 2-to-1 wetland.
Correct. And I think I know where your headspace is at, and Keith can speak to a little bit, but the dynamics of the watershed and how it's reacting and how much water is getting to the stream is not going to change by state law and regulation. So maybe, Keith, that might be a good segue to chat a little bit about that.
My prior history is I was on the Conservation Board for 12 and a half years, so
Okay.
I have very significant concerns about any disruption if we.
Let's see if I can get this. So, hi, I'm Keith Warner with Langen Engineering. I'm the civil designer on this project. So let me just see if I can get to it. So what we've proposed here is a series of catchments, inlets, catch basins, storm manholes, pipe networks, and infiltration units, along with hydrodynamic separation water quality units, and also another main feature of this will be the culvert extension from the existing 24-inch pipes that currently go under 118. I'll try and highlight that for you. So the stream will need to have a culvert extension in order to accommodate this project. So we are proposing approximately, I think it's 115 underground infiltration units, which are meant to both detain and infiltrate and provide the water quality and runoff reduction volumes that are required by state DEC requirements. This project will require a state speedies permit and also a DEP permit because we're in the DEP watershed. So all of that has been taken into account with our initial design and SWIP report. And if there's any specifics that you want to know at this time, I'm happy to talk about them. I know it's really tough to see on these screens.
You said there's gonna, you said there's a culvert.
Sure.
You said there was a culvert extension.
Yes.
Where's that culvert located?
So there's an existing culvert. Let me see if I can zoom in here. It's tough. It's really tough to tell, but there are two existing 24-inch pipes that travel underneath 118 today. So we're proposing, an outfall here underneath the improved site, but also an extension of those two 24-inch pipes to culvert the existing stream through the site so that the stream can function as it does today. But we will have a net reduction in peak flows and volume from the site, even though we're adding close to an acre of impervious area, both with the roadway improvements and the site improvements. We would have a reduction in the rate of runoff and volume that is leaving the site today.
How many trees are gonna be taken down?
We still need to, to get a tree survey to get an exact count out there, but it looks to be in the, around 50, from what I can tell. And to David's point, going back to the site plan here, everybody knows that this is an existing trailhead, as you can see here. Let's bring it up over here on the survey. The existing trailhead here at the intersection of Downing and 118, continues both to the west here. We're proposing, as part of the improvements, a sidewalk adjacent to the road extension here. Let's see. And a transition, back to the natural trail path off to the west of the site.
And Keith, could you just scroll down and also show how that integrates with the proposed crosswalk?
Yes, so there is proposed striping and crosswalk to get pedestrians across Downing and connect with the existing sidewalk. Yeah, new crosswalk striping.
So the crosswalk would only be two crosswalks? It wouldn't be all around, or
There's
am I not seeing it, or
No,
it looks
there's-
like it's there, but it's not? Doesn't have little cross lines,
yeah. So
What's
these
the intention there?
Yeah, no, there's it's meant to have, a four-way crosswalk across both the Downing Drive extension, the existing Downing Drive intersection, and 118.
What's the purpose, this is not part of the other questions that I will ask later.
Sure.
But
Sure.
just on the trail issue, what's the purpose of the sidewalk between the trail and the your driveway? If you have the trail there for walking, why do you need the sidewalk? I'm just curious.
Are you talking up, plan north here?
Yeah, that whole yellow thing is you're proposing a sidewalk,
Right.
which would be run parallel to the trail.
No, there's
No,
trail, that's a
no.
car.
The trail we'd need to take that space in order to do the access for the Downing Drive extension. So the existing trail would be relocated to utilize the sidewalk adjacent to the road extension.
So you're
It's approximately 200 feet.
You're relocating the trail, and are you substituting a sidewalk for the natural trail?
In this 200-foot road extension, that's what's proposed currently.
Is there a
As
reason,
somebody
Keith?
who was involved in,
Is there a reason, I think where Susan's going.
Sure.
I used to be on the trail committee.
Sure.
That's why I'm very concerned.
No, it just, we need it, the space is being utilized by the access for the site. The space where the existing trail is needs to be relocated. The trail needs to be relocated in order to accommodate the vehicular access to the site.
The trail is part of this parcel?
It's part of the town's
They don't-
right
the
of way.
town's-
The town right of way.
So you're changing
I
the
think it's a
trail
paper road.
you said for
they need a
200 feet.
Right.
In a way, you're substituting a natural trail. Offhand, I don't remember the
Because otherwise you sterilize
The
everything.
bank approval?
distance in from 118. There's a bridge, and I don't remember if that's after 200 feet or not. I don't know.
So one of the things that we want to look into, because we appreciate the question, is we think the bank approval that the town granted also required the relocation of that trail.
The trail was never there.
Wasn't in existence.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't. The bank, I think, like 2008 or something, because it was approved long before, and the trail was built in Walton 2022. The trail was built in 2022, I think, 2021.
That explains why we're not sure whether it was in the bank approval or not.
No, and we were very careful when the trail was built that it had nothing to do with the bank,
Understood.
with, quote, the bank parcel, which we used to call the Manjaro parcel.
Got it, sure.
But,
Actually, I think the trail was built while I was supervising. So it would have been 18 and 19.
Times go long way. I don't remember the time.
We can't, we,
I don't remember
please
the
don't
time.
yall out from the audience.
Okay.
Way up there.
Okay, I didn't
All right,
remember.
so
But
let them-
that's just the
Understood.
the sense. So just to make this clear, that you're going to take away 200 feet of the trail.
We're going to relocate the existing trail to a safe
To a sidewalk.
sidewalk and to bring it to a safe crosswalk.
Well, yeah, the having traffic improvements at 118 has been a long desire, you know, of the trail committee, which we haven't been able to do. So yeah, that's one, your one plus, you know, on this project. I will get to all my other concerns a little later after you finish your
So
presentation.
we're done with our affirmative presentation, unless you have questions
No,
about
I have other-
engineering or wetlands. Feel free to ask your questions. It's one of the reasons we brought our entire team here tonight, was so that we could kick off with you, with everybody, and answer the questions and get this underway.
All right,
Robin,
let
why
me
don't
go
you,
through. Oh.
Robin, why don't you come up front in case you're needed as well?
I'll go through some of my,
We're ready.
concerns. You started your presentation by saying that this is code compliant to car washes. The way the code is written, which dates back to 1994, it's for gasoline filling stations. And when you read the code for gasoline filling stations, which require a special permit from the town board, it virtually nothing that really talks about car washes. It's all about gasoline filling stations. So that's the first thing to note. We do not have really regulations for car wash. I did some checking, and the Front Street car wash dates back to possibly 1968. That's when a building permit was issued for that. All right, so we have no regulations. Okay,
What about the one on 202 that's built into the gas station?
Gas station, yeah, the Shell station.
I wasn't aware that there was a
Sure.
car wash. Just that's,
Robin, could you step up to the mic?
that's in which station on 202?
Shell
Because
station.
originally, car washes were only allowed as part of a gas station.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then later, it was added into the code that they can also be separate. I agree with you that it's convoluted and probably should have been separated a long time ago so that there was gas stations and car washes.
Yeah, so, okay, that's just
So
what.
when was it added, when was specifically car wash added into the code?
Well, the current code, it says 1994, and that's where they talk about, if you read through all of the, like,
What says, what does it say? What, like, you know?
for example, this is section 346. It says, convenience stores shall be permitted within gasoline filling stations as prescribed therein. Automated car wash facilities and truck rentals shall be permitted as prescribed herein. But there's no herein that talks specifically about car washes. There's lots of text about canopies, and I know this board over the years has dealt a lot with canopies and other issues. And then the car wash is, where the car wash is located, the town shall require adequate on-site circulation and space for vehicle stacking associated with, and so forth and so on. But there's nothing about setbacks or things like that. That's just one point to make. The other point has to do with the zoning. When I first heard about this, I would say, what? We allow a car wash here in the center of town? And I had to go look at the zoning map to see that it was a C3 zoning, which basically is our highway zone, Route 202, Route 6, all right? And I think, and frankly, I want to apologize to this community, because when I was supervisor in 2010 and we were revising the comprehensive plan, and I inherited a lot of the work that had been done previously, this little pocket, C3, which is what we always call the old Cablevision building, and this parcel, was never looked at in 2010 when we did that rezoning. We were looking at lots of other places. So nobody paid any attention to this, because clearly C3 zoning belongs on Route 6 and it belongs on Route 202. It doesn't belong here. And it was an oversight in 2010. And I will say I apologize for that oversight. But the town had a second chance to look at that rezoning to look at the improper zoning when it did the overlay district for Yorktown Heights, and that was done in 2021, all right? And that was a time when they will look comprehensively at the Yorktown Heights hamlet to say, hey, guys, we got to change this, and we should have changed that zoning then. The question is, and this is a legal question, whether you can change it now to something more suitable for the hamlet, which would be a C2 or a C2R zoning. If you look at a comprehensive plan, the comprehensive plan for the Yorktown hamlet says, specifically for the hamlet, it says no auto-related in C3 zones should be in the business hamlets. It specifically says that. But as we all know, and as David will point out, it's the zoning that counts. It's not what the comprehensive plan.
So I appreciate you presaging what I was about to say, but let me just respond to something you said. What you all need to, what we all need to acknowledge is that somebody came into the town, looked at the property, looked at the zoning that wasn't changed in 2010, wasn't changed in 2022, and spent time, effort, and money and acquired it. And again, no disrespect. I'm not going to, I don't know whether you need to apologize, Susan, but as a result of what occurred, investment-backed expectations were created, relying on existing zoning. And the existing zoning, as you said, Susan, and you somewhat made my earlier argument even better than I did when I was just talking about the area. This isn't a C3 zone. The C3 zone is, as I said, 118 is a state highway. That's a state highway zone. Whether it should have, could have, some people might have wanted to change it, it wasn't changed. So the problem I have, I'm stuck with a client who relied upon your zoning that the former supervisor, now town councilwoman, has told us twice in the last 15 years, in its wisdom, the town board, professional staff could have changed, but you didn't. So I have someone who spent time, money, and effort, bought it. I have someone who's spending time, money, and effort to repurchase it, and I have a valid application now filed with the town to process a car wash. One last thing. Right. I don't have a copy of it because Jody has her fancy little electronic version, but it's clear in the code that car washes not associated with gasoline filling stations are permitted in the C3 zone. And there's a separate subsection, and I don't have a printout or I'd read it to you, Susan, you may be familiar with it, that basically gives your board latitude about setting setbacks, et cetera, associated with car washes. So I say that for the record simply because we all need to know, I want the record to be clear. When Steve called me and said, David, I think I really want to do a car wash at Downing, I have somebody that's interested in building it and operating it, and I went to the code book and said, you can do that here. You all know me too well. I didn't just make it up. And the good news for me, I'm not here asking for a rezoning. I'm not asking for you to invoke legislative discretion. Go ahead.
Often, hold on a second. Often, it actually happens frequently when somebody wants to make these financial commitments, they will ping the town board and say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. Now, you have no responsibility to do that. I'm not saying you do. But often before somebody makes a commitment, signs on the dotted line, they do come to us. Matter of fact, we're discussing something else, right?
Yes.
So, so that could have happened as well. Right?
Did you, before you close?
The other point, and I need...
So, really important point of information. I wanted to let you finish your question, Sergio, and I wanted to make sure before I gave an inaccurate answer. And I think I mentioned this to you, Sergio, but I'm going to say it now for the whole board. I did the ping. Before he closed, I called the town. I called and sat down with the town planner and had a meeting and did what I always do with this town and what I do with most towns. I reached out to your professional staff and had a discussion about the zone, what's permitted in the zone. We went so far, folks, as before I even, Ed, I think before I even reached out to you, we were already talking about colors of the building, colors of the sign, and how whether Flagship would be willing to potentially do a different type of design to make it as consistent with the surrounding area. And Judy and her team did play with it before we ultimately arrived with something. So I don't want to be argumentative. I just want to be accurate.
At what
I
point
did the
of-
ping.
At what point in time was that?
I could check my records. It was over a year ago.
Well, then,
You want to speak? Steve, go ahead. Introduce yourself. Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
been a while, but
Go ahead.
just to clarify, so.
Introduce yourself,
My name is Steve Kushner. I'm with Hendon Properties. We're the developer and the owner of the property. Certainly, my initial call to David was before we did anything on acquiring this property. Because we want to know, not buy a pig in a poke, right? You want to know what you're getting. So we'll check our dates for all of the things David is talking about, but certainly that first call where I called him up and said, hey, I'd like to do this, what does the code say? That was before we made any commitment to the property. I'll check the dates, but I think we had 2 Zoom calls.
We did.
We also had 2 Zoom calls back when John Tegeter was director of planning, and Robin, I think you attended those, at least one of them. And I just want to say, all that stuff about, hey, could the colors be a little different? It's not exactly what, that came from John Tegeter. So no one said to us, hey, this is crazy. No one said to, we pinged 3 times. So we got what information we could, in good faith, from who was available to ask.
So having said that, and
I was available.
Sorry?
I was available.
next time you're my ping.
yeah, I think,
Zoom call, why would,
So anyway, irrespective of that.
Go ahead.
Do you have a picture so we can see what it
Yes,
looks like?
yes.
I just want to get back to one thing you said, and we have Ruben here as substituting for Adam, who's our town attorney, and I need legal advice on this. We recently went through a site plan that was offered, and we had to change the zoning, and somebody did invest money in the site, and we changed the zoning. I don't want to say in midstream, but we changed the zoning early in the process because it was a problem with the zone. It was a problem with the way the zone was written, and we changed it. And I need legal advice as to whether, if we acknowledge as a board that this is the wrong zoning for the site, from a planning point of view, that we can still change the zoning despite the fact that you have invested money, but you're early in the process. And I need, this is a legal issue.
Understood.
And I
Yeah.
need that. Let me go on to one of my other concerns, which nobody has brought up, but people who know me know I talk about sewers. So I'm going to talk about sewers. I'm glad that you said that you're 40% recycled your water. I'd like to know what your estimated 60% flow will be on a monthly basis, because you're going to be going in to our Yorktown treatment plant, which is very, very, very close to its permitted max. And I have the monthly statistics for that. And we have some new developments that are coming up. Underhill Farms is going to have 3 restaurants plus 148 units. So we don't know what those additional flows are going to be. We have gone through, this town went through a painful sewer moratorium back in the 80s and 90s because we were exceeding our flows, and we had to shut down connections. And now we're allowed, we have very little space left. And if this development goes in, and I don't know what your 60% volume is, I do have sewer flows from the Yorktown car wash. The Shell station would be in the Hunterbrook, so that doesn't count. But I have flows from the Yorktown car wash, so we need to know your flows. Because if you go in, and then we would preclude even the 180 homes in the Halleck's Mill extension, by the time those plans, if they ever move forward, sorry guys, you're at capacity. No more development, no more anything. All right?
So we hear the question, Susan. We're not prepared to answer that because Keith doesn't have all the information. So when we come back, we will answer that
Well, I'm
question.
telling you, that's going to be a very...
We hear you loud and clear.
A very
Got it.
serious issue that I don't know that anyone...
Dan, if
has
you're
dealt with.
listening, Dan, why don't you come upstairs?
Because I've gotten the flow numbers from Dan.
On Front Street, where they don't have the
No.
reverse osmosis system.
That I've gotten from the water department through, I think it was through March, their daily flows, and I even correlated it because I got flows that was 0. I said, how can you have 0 flows? Because the car wash is open 7 days a week. So I actually went and correlated them with rain dates and snow dates. So we know their water comes from a well. So I'm not concerned about the source of the water. I'm concerned
just the discharge. I got
what
it.
goes in.
Understood.
But the sewer capacity in April, we hit 1.3 MGD, million gallons per day. Our permitted capacity is 1.5. That's how close we are. And I'd be very curious to see what the July readings are when we had a lot of periods of heavy rain. That's how close, and that's why every new development with any significant flow is critical to the future.
So
of
noted.
your-
Let us look at it and come back to it.
And you can get the flows from Dan.
There he comes.
May was 1.2. We've had a lot of 1.2s. Thank you, Dan.
Well, that was for the month, though. Remember, we have a 12-month rolling average.
Rolling average.
So if you do the math, that's another 250,000 gallons of headspace we have.
Well, that's
there's a lot of things here. Let me unpack them for you. The other issue is, and DEP kind of changed their tune on this, and they referred us to what they're doing with Bedford. And that was, the plant is designed for 2.5 million gallons per day. So we can handle 2.5 million gallons a day. Our permit is written with 2 flows, 1.5 and 2.5, with different discharge requirements in terms of various constituents. So the issue becomes, originally they sort of told us, the bill of goods we were sold was, if you update some pump stations, you can upgrade the flow. They've since changed their tune, and their tune now is, when you have developments coming in, once you get to the limit, so to answer your question about the Halleck's Mill extension, if we were coming close to the limit, we would go to DEP, and now they're not going to give us, the last conversation I had, we're not going to go to 2.5 million gallons a day. They'll say, how much do you need? And then they would issue the variance for the additional flow. But physically, the plant is designed to handle the 2.5.
I've known that a long time. It was designed for 2.5, but before we do something, we'd have to do other things. The pump station upgrades, which has been a long, long process. I think there are changes in, I think it's the phosphorus level.
Also the infiltration.
There are other things that we would need to do to get that. So it's not as easy.
No, it is.
Oh, it's easy. That's why we've been waiting for the pump station. The pump station.
Pump station
we had
isn't
that
flow.
conversation, and from their perspective, the pump station thing doesn't solve it. They want to know, when you need it, come talk to us.
Well, I'd like to know.
That's their position.
We have to see what's going to happen when Underhill Farms goes in with. We know we're having 2 restaurants, and I think a third one is planned, and restaurants would be heavy users.
We monitor the flow every day, so we're painfully aware what the flow is.
That's a concern.
And if we start to approach it, then we have to have that conversation, and hopefully the Halleck's Mill extension will go through.
So you've had a conversation with, and so you're on kind of like, we're on like an as-needed basis if we get close.
That's kind of the change in their tune.
Okay.
And that's basically, and that was the model they used for Bedford. Over in Bedford, they have a plant at the correctional facility, and they wanted to bring in properties outside of the correctional facility, and they permitted an incremental increase equivalent to what that other piece, or that other section coming into the plant would
be
generate.
adding.
Right. So that seems to be how they want to deal with it.
Dan, if Langen wants to reach out to you to just get any data to make sure we can answer Susan's question for the entire board,
Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Well, plus your data from your existing stations, which have the 40% recycling thing, with a comparable size facility.
absolutely.
What your daily usage is, what your daily amount is.
But what about, Dan, what about our issues with infiltration? And the DEP and the DEC?
In the Yorktown District, right now, we don't have, we're not under a mandate to do it, but I&I is essentially like painting a bridge. You know, every so often, you got to get back to it. You got to find where the leaks are. It's a never-ending battle.
But
You
that,
know,
but
people
that
put in
affects-
sump pumps, there's, you know, illegal, you know, there's all kinds of things. And you just have to periodically just do it again.
But they were putting us under certain mandates, weren't they?
Yeah, I think we did have a settlement that we were supposed to be doing I&I, which we have not been doing.
Was the
Oh, no,
I&I
that was on
Peekskill?
Peekskill.
Peekskill, but I think we're supposed to be doing Halleck's Mill I&I, and we're not doing it.
I mean, right now, we're gonna have to do it again, but right now,
Have to do it.
no, it's just part of running a collection system.
Yeah, but
Periodically, you just have to keep doing it.
Was there an I&I mandate associated with Underhill Farms?
No.
no, because right now Underhill Farms had the capacity. So what I'm saying is these flows that we're getting close do not reflect Underhill Farms because it's not fully occupied. Right? So we'd have to wait and see what the flows are once it's fully occupied and once those
Understood.
restaurants.
The only reason I ask that, and Dan probably knows exactly why I ask that, because virtually every single project I work on throughout the county in every community, the GML letter comes back from the county recommending I&I mitigation. So I would be shocked, and I leave it to all of you to figure it out, whether you got a GML on Underhill Farms that
But
required.
remember, that's when it's going to the county plants.
Right.
They interject that one. So this is our own
This
plant.
is your own plan.
Is there, yeah.
Got it.
Don't get me started on I&I.
No, we're not gonna, we don't need to. So your question's so noted on the flow and the capacity. Got it.
David, real quick, how many cars can you stack? in
That's
that?
a great question. So either Keith or Rich, somebody want to handle queuing? Because we've spent a lot of time,
how
that is the
many?
right question to ask. And this particular, somebody's got to help me here. So I'm not the car guy.
Testify what our typical staffing is. I think
Um,
Diane's probably better to.
That's fine. Then,
To talk to who, or Rich.
or Rich, let's,
How many
Rich
the
do
site
it.
can
Let's,
accommodate.
If we're just talking about
Tag, you're it.
the space between the pay stations and the property line, we can stack approximately 15 vehicles in that space. But in terms of the actual traffic expected, I think I have to defer here.
So I think from our we had a discussion earlier today about this, and I think from the operator's experience, typically 12 to 13 vehicles is their max queue. I will say
That's their max queue, and out of the 200 and something stations that they manage,
yeah, that's my understanding. I will say as
kind of low, you know.
well, it's based on the speed of
Yeah,
process, right, and the speed of, and amount and time of arrivals, right.
The problem is you're on 118, so if you back up, you're backing up onto 118.
Completely understood, and that's not going to be just your concern; it's going to be DOT's concern as well.
That's
right.
our
So
concern, yeah.
completely understood. We're going to have to show that's going to work.
Okay.
I will say that we haven't gone to the extent of doing a full traffic study on this yet, and that queuing analysis will be part of our study when we do that. So.
So as far as employees go, how many employees will actually be on the site?
On an average shift, we'll have about 10 to 12 employees on the site at any given time. And to staff that appropriately, we hire anywhere from 25 to 30 employees in total.
So you'll have, that's not bad. So you'll have 12 people. So where do they park? I don't see any parking.
There's parking in the back. Based on all of our operating sites, less than 50% of our employees drive to work. So they either carpool, get dropped off, or take public transportation. So I think we've got a total of 4 parking spaces here, which would accommodate that 10 to 12.
So you got, hold on a second. You got 4 parking spots, and you're hoping that they take the bus? Is that what we're saying?
Based on the
Did you just
200.
say- Is that what we
Would you
just
like
said?
me to answer that?
Yes, please. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
very
didn't-
good. Thank you. Based on the 230 car washes that we operate, we know that less than 50% of our employees drive to work. They either come together, or they get dropped off, or they take public transportation. So based on the fact that we would expect 10 employees on an average shift, 12 on a max, 4 people would be driving to work.
Do you know the Yorktown
Okay.
available public transportation? Do you know what's available in Yorktown?
Beeline bus.
There's a bus.
From where to where?
Beeline actually does run past there.
Yeah.
All right.
Comes right up.
It does.
Yeah, but
I don't know where it's coming from. Peekskill or Yonkers?
I think Peekskill.
Getting back to Sergio's question, and what, you have some, what this is gonna look like?
Yes, we were about to do that, and good question.
No, it's a good conversation we're having, you know, we're trying to get to the, we're trying to drill down here.
I'm not complaining. I appreciate all the time and all of the
we do.
questions. Thank you. This time, Keith, no coloring, just display. Unless they ask you to recolor it. Right.
He's good at it.
He is good at it.
He probably excelled in like pre-K and kindergarten. You were like top of the class, 1 out of like 50 students.
You may want to come up and guide it through so that you can narrate what you're showing if you wish. We have multiple angles of the building. You obviously can see the concept as a gray, white, and red motif.
Yeah, so this is the south elevation, so that would be, if you're looking at the site plan, looking at this, the south end of the building, this is first image. East elevation.
So those garages, that's where they're coming out after they're done?
Garages, so
The
yes.
doors.
Right, right below the red.
Right. Okay, so yes, these would be the dry belts, and then I think the door on the far right would be the wash belt.
You have 100% success rate on all of these projects?
You mean on approvals?
No, in terms of businesses succeeding.
Has any car wash ever closed? Is that the question?
Yes.
Have any of your car?
I don't know that for sure. I can find out if we've ever
We can-
closed any.
yeah.
I know we've closed some to relocate to different sites, but I'm not sure that's what you're asking.
Yeah, and you've been in existence, basically, you're saying for 5 years? You're this,
Spotless Brands has flagship.
Yeah, can you step up? It's not for us. It's for
I'm
the.
usually very loud, so
It's for the
everyone can
people in
hear me.
TV land.
Spotless Brands started in 2020. Flagship, which is this operation, actually started in the 1980s, so they've been in existence for quite a long time.
my concern is, I wish you the best ultimately in your business venture, whether it's here or elsewhere. But my concern is having an empty building like this in the middle of town if it's unsuccessful, and what it could then be repurposed for.
So all
I'm
I hear you. No, I appreciate the question. The best answer, I can give you two answers. One, it's not like this is the first time they've ever done this, and they've spent there's been a lot of lead time before we're here tonight in terms of time, effort, and money spent in connection with this. That's number one. Number two, while I completely appreciate your concern, and I probably Judy does too, as a matter of law, I don't think you have a basis to deny because you're worried it won't be successful. I needed to say that.
I'm just.
I needed to make sure that was
we're throwing a
part
lot
of
of
a part of a
questions.
record response.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
He hates when I do this because he doesn't know what I'm going to say, and then who the hell knows what's going to happen?
I'll kick you.
I know. Yeah, that's why I stood far away. If that should happen, and we certainly don't anticipate it, and I mean that. I mean, listen,
You're not going to put, right.
Right, and we chose this tenant from a number of them. But what I was going to say is, should that happen, they would be leaving with over $1 million of municipal improvement in place. And you would be left with that $1 million of municipal improvement. But if this board and the DOT, which we pretty much know you're going to say you need a traffic light, and we're going to work with you on that. Update the plans, get it working correctly. So that's all I wanted. They've got a big risk if they leave. And yes, you'd have an empty building, but you'd have a working intersection.
How big can the cars go in there? I'm just saying for trucks, we get salt in the winter on the trucks. People want to, just go in there and clean their cars.
How big an SUV or a pickup?
All of our facilities are designed for a Ford F-250. I don't know what the height of that is, but that's the biggest truck we can accommodate.
That's a pretty good size.
Yeah. It's big.
Other questions? Otherwise, what I'm going to say is, obviously, you've given us a lot of time. We appreciate the spirited discussion. We have we have filed an application. I can tell you that both Steve and Judy, if they don't do it tonight, are going to call or email me first thing in the morning and say, when are we on the next agenda? We filed an application to begin formally processing. So we've got a process that we have to unfold before your board. We're ready to do it. We obviously would like to move along. We have some important sewer questions and traffic-related issues that have been teased out properly.
Don't leave out the parking, because I understand what your average, I understand
I
what
hear
your
you.
averages are, but
You don't like
know,
it.
I mean, do you ask your employees if they own rollerblades just in case, they can't
Skate-
carpool?
they're all
I mean,
skateboarders, skateboard.
So I mean, to me, it's I understand what your averages are.
Got it.
I will tell you, Yorktown is far from average, and so that's definitely a concern for me. If you're going to have 10, 12 employees, you're only going to have 4 spots. What happens if something goes wrong? Where do you park? So that's also something. And then I have other concerns as well, which we'll flush out.
Okay.
But thank you for being here, and thank you for showing us. I'm sure the facilities are state of the art and very nice. So.
And it goes without saying, but if at any time during this process, any of you wants to go to another facility, either as a part of a guided tour, or you just want to, you have a dirty car and you're in New Jersey and you want to get a car wash, tell them you know Judy, and be careful on that dry belt. Make sure you get out of the car so they can vacuum it.
So are there any facilities in New York? This would be the first?
Presently,
One in Long Island,
just-
Bay Shore.
just the
Long
one.
Island?
Yeah.
It's a long way to go to get your car washed.
Thank you for your time and your patience with us this evening. We will be back as soon as we are placed on the next agenda. We'll answer some of these questions and look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Excuse me.
I'm going to do it again and just say to you,
no.
and just say to you, because you said it to us, and this is really the truth. I appreciate the time to look. We walked in here knowing there was some discomfort, but this struck me as a real exchange of ideas. You were asking questions, we were trying to answer them, and I just wanted to say, like you said to us, thanks for the conversation.
No, and I appreciate it. And like we say constantly, we're here to listen. Pat,
Right.
that's Pat's main. He's always speaking
Everybody
about
says
that.
it, not everybody means it.
Well,
And
we mean
no,
it.
I mean that.
And I think the discomfort that you heard was probably coming from me.
Okay, well, that's fair.
I'll be honest with you. But like I said in the beginning, I'm here to listen and I'm here to look at it. I have a lot of concerns. So
Absolutely, and we understand.
figure
We'll
it out.
try to address them.
figure it
Thanks again
Yeah,
for
and
your time.
let me just add that I think we have to have a second look at the process, because it was a little disconcerting to know that you started talking to some people about this over a year ago, and that this was new to us on the town board. I think there should have been more communication, and we should have been involved earlier, because as Sergio said, we are used to applicants coming in, and the phrase that's always used is, we want a warm and fuzzy, all right? And you get that warm and fuzzy. Yes, you have to put some money into coming with a plan, all right? It doesn't have to be as detailed as maybe yours is. But you can't talk about a plan until you see something on paper. We are very used to that, and I think going forward, I think this is a lesson that we have learned, and I will, share the same thoughts with my board after this
Sure.
going forward, that this should not happen again.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
600 Kitchewan Road? 600 Kitchewan Road up for discussion? The man has a tripod, map. He came ready. He's ready for action. How are you tonight, sir? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Tim Allen at Bivo Associates Engineering, representing Robert Manicharian. Robert owns property, 2 pieces of property that are on this map. 600 Kitchewan is on the lower portion, which is 16 acres, and also 794 Pinesbridge Road, which is 21.7 acres, where his main residence is. On this piece of property on 600 Kitchewan, Kitchewan Road is down here. Pinesbridge comes up and meets at the corner. Robert's proposing a very modest single-family residence for a family member on 600 Kitchewan. So if we flip this map,
How big is the property? Did you say that? I'm sorry.
600 Kitchewan is 16.6 acres.
So it's 27 acres.
16
it's
acres
constrained,
each?
it's steep, it's got some,
Steep slope.
a constrained area. So what we're proposing to do is, this is 794 Pines Bridge. This is the upper half of Kitchewan, 600 Kitchewan. There is a plateau up in the very top adjacent to 694. We're proposing a single-family residence on 600 Kitchewan, which will be accessed via a common driveway from 794.
They're
So
related, right? You said this is like a family member.
It'll be for a family member.
So
yes.
one single-family home on 16 acres.
Correct. And we're before this board for a non-administrative stormwater permit. The system has been, the house has been designed for a septic well and a stormwater chamber which will infiltrate the roof of the house, the new driveway, and all the impervious surfaces associated with this. Total disturbance is very modest. Again, it's only 20,000 square feet. It's just above 20,000 square feet, which is the threshold for this board. So it's a very simple proposal.
How big's the house?
The house is about 20 by 60 in footprint, so it's nothing large.
So how much square footage wise?
It's a garage under, so that'll be 1,800 square feet roughly. Garage under and just a 3-bedroom above.
You said that it's, there's steep slopes on this?
Beyond, below, yes.
Okay, so you're
We're
not,
using
the driveway to the I mean, obviously, everything will be, have to be approved for
everything's
code,
on-
but I'm concerned about when I hear steep slopes
Yeah.
in terms of accessibility.
I don't know if you can make out the property as a whole, but we're in this upper plateau area, this boxed out area is the area of interest here. The rest of this property is fairly steep throughout.
And how do the emergency vehicles, what's the slope of the driveway or to get up there?
The driveway is not steep at all. It's very gently sloping up and around to the main residence, so it's a very accessible piece of property from Pines Bridge.
It's less than 8% the slope, you think?
Yeah, yeah. It's a little steep coming off the road, but after that, it flattens out all the way up to the top.
Has this been referred out?
No.
Daniel, did you have any comments on this?
Yeah, it's a, as he pointed out, it's a fairly large lot, and this is kind of the sensible way to access it through the existing property. So that eliminates a lot of the issues with developing this lot, because the bulk of it really is steep slopes. It makes it really unusable for development purposes. And otherwise, yeah, so we'll just, be in a swift review on this, and if we have any other technical comments, but.
You good with all of this? You good with this?
Yeah, no, I don't have any red flags on it, just a regular,
Not if he's going to do it administratively.
Oh, we don't need to.
Non-administratively, then it would go before a refer out.
Is it administrative or non-administrative on the
I mean, it's over
disturbance
the
level?
threshold. If you want to authorize me to do it administratively, otherwise we refer it out tonight.
How far over the threshold are we talking?
We're 29,000 square feet, or 20,000 square feet is the threshold in disturbance.
So 1.5. What do you think, Lonnie?
I'm okay with this being administrative.
Sir, Susan?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
All right. So,
Okay. We'll
go
handle
to
it.
work.
All right.
Thank you.
You guys look shocked.
No,
You
we
can
take-
breathe, you can breathe.
Thank you very
Inhale,
much. I know the one before me is not going to be administrative, but anyway.
Just a question, if it's administrative, will still go to the Conservation Board for review, because we don't do referral, and I don't know, Dan, will you be submitting this to the Conservation Board? All right, so I think that should be part of your review,
Yeah.
because I don't think it's mandated.
I think that's SOP anyway. No, I think it is. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Shrub Oak Park Hockey Rink Grant. Jim, Friends of Shrub Oak Memorial Park Roller Rink. I see members of the Rec Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah, we blamed it all on you, Patrick.
That's fine.
Okay. I guess after the last one, you guys didn't think this one would be that quick.
Oh, absolutely not.
I told them, right? When we're on a detail, you never say it's quiet tonight, because that's when everybody comes out and all of a sudden your police work becomes police work. He jinxed it. He's like, this was quick.
No,
But
we're still on my schedule.
All right, well, at least I'll be quick.
I got 35 minutes before.
Yeah. So,
All right, Jimmy.
So hello. Shrub Oak Park. I don't know if you've been there lately, but for the past, almost 30 years, we've had a wonderful roller rink in that location. It was constructed back in 2001 when the pool was reconstructed, the Brian J. Slavin Aquatics Facility. So that space, since I've been here, we've seen some disrepair there over those past 30 years. It was resurfaced once, but just to resurface, it wasn't reclaimed and resurfaced, and those boards were never redone as well. So we've cleaned it up, and Matt Tauber and I have looked into some Band-Aid options for that space. But recently, there's been some new energy around this roller rink, and there's a new hockey program that we've started that's really gaining some traction with some young athletes starting to pick up the sport of hockey. So we have a new group, the Friends of Shrub Oak Memorial Park Rolling Rink, and they are looking to come before the commission and the town to work with me into pursuing a grant to potentially redo this whole roller rink, as well as having the option for refrigeration to RFP at a later date. That would add revenue and excitement and some real ice here in the town of Yorktown. So very excited about this opportunity, and I hope you are willing to listen with open ears.
No.
Cassandra?
All right, so before we begin tonight, I want to ask each of you to take a brief 5-second look back into your own childhoods, okay? Whether that was here in Yorktown or somewhere else. And I want you to think about the specific place outside of your home where you spent your Friday nights or your summer weekends. The place where you hung out with your friends, where you felt safe. Maybe it's somewhere where you learned how to win or how to lose, and where you actually felt like you belonged. Just get that physical place pictured in your mind.
How old am I in this picture here?
You can decide.
Because, different ages, it's...
I'll leave it up to you.
Places.
I don't think jail is one of the answers you're looking for.
All right, I won't go back that. So go ahead.
All right, so now let me ask you a follow-up question. How many of your memories involved a glowing screen?
Not many.
Yeah.
I hung out at the Cliffs, and they want to put a car wash there now.
Yeah, so none of them did, right? But today, I think if we asked the youth of Yorktown that same question, the answer would be completely different, right? Right now, across Yorktown, we have hundreds of teenagers staring at their screen, right? Just like this one, just like I see everybody else in here has theirs, right? Now, they're isolated up in their rooms. Maybe they're dealing with some depression or anxiety, loneliness. And regardless of our politics, I think we can all agree that we don't want that for our children. Now, I'm sure you are already aware that sociologists call the place that you all just pictured a third space, okay? This is a safe public place outside of home and school where kids can put down their phones and just be kids. Right now, our youth are starved for third spaces. And ironically, Yorktown already owns one on Sunnyside Street in Shrub Oak. but it's currently sitting cracked, sometimes flooded, and completely underutilized. Now, we're not here tonight to ask you to fund a luxury sports complex, okay? We're here to show you how a covered, multi-sport concrete slab will allow the town to host low-cost street hockey, non-sport community events, all abilities adaptive programming, and safe weekend activities for every Yorktown family all year round, rain or shine. Now, maybe I clicked too many times. I sure did. Okay. Now, what you are looking at on this slide isn't a stock graphic in the background here. Okay, I know it's a little bit small, but these are actually just some of the real names and real families who have signed our community petition to bring back the rink. But what's incredibly unique about this group is that it doesn't stop at Yorktown's borders. Of course, there's massive local support in Yorktown Heights, Mohegan Lake, Shrub Oak, Jefferson Valley, of course. But we also have a lot of names up here from neighboring towns and surrounding areas as well. These are families who either historically traveled to Yorktown to use our rink or who currently travel here to support our community. We've mobilized hundreds of people in a matter of a few weeks, few months, and the message is clear. They want a safe, active, outdoor space resurrected at Shrub Oak Park. To tell you about how we plan to make that happen, let me introduce our project. So, Supervisor Lochterman, members of the town board, thank you so much for giving us the time tonight at this work session. My name is Cassandra Vasquez, and I'm incredibly proud to stand here on behalf of the Friends of the Shrub Oak Memorial Park roller rink. As you can see from our slide, our core mission is simple: to invest in the community, build safe spaces for our youth, and bring the sport of hockey firmly back to Yorktown. We have been working directly with Yorktown's Parks and Recreation Department, as well as the Recreation Commission, to align our vision with the town's existing needs. Many of the photos that you will see throughout our presentation tonight, including this one, are from our community cleanup event in May. Our grassroots volunteers rolled up their sleeves to physically clear out debris and start showing this rink and this park the love it deserves. The energy out there was incredible, and it proved to us just how hungry Yorktown families are to get this asset back online. Tonight, we're very excited to walk you through a clear, phased plan to transform this asset into a year-round facility, and more specifically, how we plan to utilize a New York State grant funding to protect the town's budget while doing it. To give you a brief look at the incredible, rich history of this space, I'm going to pass it over to someone who has been there since the beginning, Matt Loria.
So this is kind of unique for me, different hat tonight.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, Matt Loria, sorry, from Yorktown.
That's okay, Matt.
This rink is kind of unique to me. This comes full circle. So it's hard to see. It's kind of small up here. This rink started, this actually whole program started in the 90s, mid to late 90s, actually at Sparkle Lake, where the old trailers for the Parks and Rec Department was there. And to fully grasp this, to understand what we're looking to do, you have to kind of see where we came from and then the opportunity we have in front of us tonight and then moving forward. This rink started, the program started in the mid to late 90s, actually at Sparkle Lake. It was operated out of the shed, which is still there, behind the trailers. There were portable boards, and it was roller hockey with a ball, basically street hockey. Any parent who dared park close enough to the portable boards typically had their cars dinged. We did an entire league out of this parking lot, for lack of a better word, down to travel teams. We hosted teams from other areas to our parking lot, and we played from Mites to like Bantams area at the time. I played at that rink as a child, so did my brother. My parents, as you kind of fast forward to the 2000, were part of that fight to build a rink in the town for my brother and I when we were kids, among many other families here. We didn't have a space for it. The league was growing, and the major
hurdle for it was we didn't have a facility. You can only play in a parking lot for so long. If it rained, you couldn't play. If someone left their car there overnight or like went to like Sparkle Lake, we actually had to cancel games because somebody parked their car where the rink is supposed to be. So that was a major hindrance. Imagine like hosting a travel game and someone's got their car parked in the mound of a baseball field.
So I played in the Bronx. We played around the car.
We tried,
The car was
but
like
it,
just
it
another,
was
you
kind
know,
of frowned
the poor
upon
car.
with kids with sticks and pucks and balls. It didn't have a great look.
Yeah, I know.
So you fast forward to 2000, 2001, the community kind of rallied together and they needed a space for a rink. And the town was gracious enough where we actually got a space on Sunnyside Avenue. And there's a bonus point here. If you can, it's hard to see, but if you see the presentation online, figure out which pictures I'm in as a child. I'm in a couple of them. And the 2000, we finally started fighting for that rink. And my parents were a big part of that. 2001, the rink was built in Sunnyside Avenue. YAC, and I'm in that picture bottom left, we were the first ever YAC travel roller hockey team. We didn't have one before, and I was lucky enough to be part of the first ever team. We built that rink in Shrubboak because that was the only place available for us. YAC ran the league because it started in Sparkle and moved to Shrubboak, which is why it's not an SOAC league. It just started in Yorktown and stayed in Shrubboak. That league flourished. We grew exponentially, more than I could have ever imagined. I became an official. My father was the commissioner of referees for the roller league. We had at one point had a waiting list for hockey. That's how big it got. We had mini mites, which are like 3-4-year-olds that are starting to learn how to skate, up to high school. They ran from anywhere from 4 teams to 8 to 16. We played hockey from Sunday at 8 a.m. until 5 to 6 p.m. We hosted travel leagues as far south as Atlantic City and as far north of us as mid-Connecticut. This was the premier facility in the region, so we hosted every single travel tournament in this area because this trumped any rink around us from Cortland to Austin to Putnam Valley, which no longer exists. In 2014 to 2020, the rink saw the YAC kind of stepped away as a lot of us aged out, and you saw another team or another organization come in, Yorktown Youth Roller Hockey. They were in operation from about 2015 to 2016. They had about 10 teams with a dozen or more kids on there, and they were keeping it alive. The downside was when that 2016 and that resurfacing occurred, the rink started to show failure. The center of the rink started to continue to flood because the cracks occurred, and then a tree came down from one of the storms. Once the rink started to really deteriorate, the players left. You couldn't use it. It was flooded. It just kind of, players
Can't
went
skate.
elsewhere. You can't skate on it. You couldn't use it. It was really unreliable, and guys went elsewhere, or the players really went elsewhere. And now you fast forward to now, we've come back together. As a lot of us have grown up together. We all have kids in the area. I bring my 3-year-old to skate there. And it's before a tragedy that kind of brought us all back together to bring this rink kind of to life again. I would bring my son, I'd bring a hockey stick and a weed whacker because the weeds were going through everything. So I would have to weed whack the rink so my kid can play on it. I don't know what I did, but we'll figure it out. I used to have to weed whack the rink so my son could skate on it. This rink kind of is more than just a hockey rink to me. As an adult now with 2 kids, my parents fought to build a rink in this town, and now I'm back in front of the town trying to restore and bring it back to its not only former glory, but like an opportunity to make this even better than it ever could have imagined. We're going to go through it. This is kind of how I met some of my best friends for life here. And the joke, and you'll see it in the presentation, hockey is a very unique sport. It is something that a lot of people, if you saw like the Olympics this year, hockey won, the U.S. won women's, men's, and sled hockey Paralympic. First time it's ever happened, the same country, the U.S. swept the entire thing. If you saw Jack Hughes' speech about it, people like, that's a very iconic speech. If you play the sport of hockey, it's not an unusual thing to hear us say at all. That's a hockey player's mentality. And you're raised from a very young age, it's about community, team before self. And a lot of us joke, because I still play on a men's league team full of cops and firemen. We all grew up playing together. Most of us played on this rink together, and we entered public service probably because of the way we were mentored and raised playing hockey, because it's about giving to the community and then the team before you do something for yourself. And I know that's how even Frank and Cassandra met. Like, they would never got married, had kids if they wasn't for this rink. So it's more than just a rink. It's really a space for kids to grow. I probably wouldn't be what I am if it wasn't honestly for playing hockey. You know, like big part of my life, and the opportunity moving forward. This is a space that's more than a rink. You can play ball hockey. You can play street hockey. You can potentially play ice hockey. You can do box lacrosse. You can do soccer. And you'll see as we move forward, because it has a canopy, or potentially will hopefully have a canopy, you can do anything. This is probably the only covered town sports complex in the area.
Listen, I grew up playing hockey too, and it was more like a lot of roller hockey. Then we transitioned into ice hockey. I wasn't that good at basketball, you know, because I had a problem dunking. You picking up what I'm putting down? You picking up
Listen,
what I'm putting down?
we're close in height, so we're pretty. This is the short guy game.
Yeah, I don't know if we're close in height, but thank you for the compliment. But anyway, but no, I mean, I get it. I mean, and I understand the camaraderie behind it, and just playing hockey is just, I think it's the single best sport. But
But when you look at the rink, look at it as more than the sport, because this will give gym and Parks and Recs an exponential use, from box lacrosse to indoor soccer to yoga. You can do a movie night under the canopy because it's covered. It gives Parks and Recs the ability to use a town facility almost year-round for anything.
Do you have a picture of it?
If it's not been used for hockey, it's going to be used for virtually anything, and it has a space for it. So, I'm going to keep going.
Picture of what you're looking to do.
What we're looking to do is...
That's all right. Just let us know. Just go ahead.
So we don't have a rendering yet, but what we're doing now is hockey's grown, like we said before. It's getting bigger and bigger. The problem is there's not many facilities. We had one. We still currently have one. It's kind of fallen to the wayside over 30 years. Like a lot of things in infrastructure, it just kind of trails off, right?
So Matt, you're looking for a grant?
So we have, like we said, if we can, so do you want to answer some of it, or I can? I can. It's not a big deal. We've reached out to a number of people, as you see up here. One of them we have found is through Cassandra and a lot of people talking to a number of actual NHL teams, including the Carolina Hurricanes. And through that communication, we have found a grant that would be a matching grant. If you can come up to and speak if you want.
Do you want to talk about the grant?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So we know that this is not an easy project. This is not a fast project. This is big, right? So we have been putting together a very rigorous outreach plan, and when we put together all of our slides and putting this list together of all of the rinks that we need to speak to, the refrigeration experts, state agencies, community groups, and many more that we should reach out to for guidance, we came up with a pretty long list, okay? And it's actually very small. You can barely even read it because of so many people that we had decided we needed to reach out to, right? Now, spoiler alert, we've talked to everyone that's listed on here already, okay? Some we've had multiple conversations with, okay? We put a screenshot in here of Frank and I having a conversation with the Carolina Hurricanes before they won the Stanley Cup, a couple weeks before, okay? So we have already spoken to many organizations, professional networks, local departments, and consulted them to kind of pressure test the project, see, what we might need to do and how we could go about it. So we've done a lot of this legwork already. And I think the next slide is going to be about the grant, right? We're a little out of order now, but.
Let's flip it. Let's see.
Okay, just kidding. It's project stages.
All right, everyone. My name is Frank Vasquez. I actually owned and operated a business in Yorktown Heights for 9 years. That was Hudson Valley Hockey Company. We were a retail sporting goods hockey shop. We sharpened skates, repaired equipment, obviously sold equipment as well, gave some good advice.
Where was this?
This was on Mayapack Avenue, right across from the Tool Nut for 5 years, and then Jefferson Valley Mall for another 3 years plus. So, I have a little bit of a background in hockey. And we actually were at some points looking at bringing a rink to the Jefferson Valley Mall through Washington Prime's involvement, but unfortunately COVID kind of hindered that and eventually killed it. So we weren't able to pursue that, but I do have a lot of understanding of what it takes to bring a rink to a municipality like this. I understand the limitations, but I also understand the opportunities that are involved. And it's my privilege today to speak to you guys about how we plan to do this and what the numbers are and what those entail. So we have some stages for you here. These are 3 items that we would like to include in the first phase of the construction of this rink, the reconstruction of the rink. Now, you can see that it's broken down into 3 separate buckets of cost. The first bucket is probably the most important and consequentially the most expensive. That is going to be the construction of the slab, but also the demolition of the existing structure that is there currently. Now, we do feel that there are several ways to mitigate that cost. We do feel that it's a situation where, there are some ways that the town might be able to help us with recycling some of the fill that we have in there, some of the concrete, things of this nature. But there are also some other ways that we do think we can save some money in this first phase. However, we have priced in that demolition. We've also priced in the concrete and the actual laying of that concrete with trenches for refrigeration pipes. And
that's for eventually ice hockey?
Correct.
Okay.
So if you want to envision what we have here, the closest thing to this would be Murray's Ice Rink, E.J. Murray's Ice Rink in Yonkers. The way that we want to pursue this is not with a structure that's enclosed fully, with something that has a roof and open sides and allows for, a transformation in the spring and the summer to a roller hockey rink to allow the lowest barrier to entry. We can have ball hockey, we can have roller hockey, and we don't have to have the ice time costs that are associated with having an ice rink.
It's not a building.
Correct. So that's the one of the things I really wanted to delineate here. Another thing I wanted to mention, just as an aside, is that I grew up using this rink. I actually was one of the first generations that actually was the first generation that used the rink as an in-house league. And I met one of my very good friends, Joe Pagliaro, there. His father was integral in all the leagues, and he and I were involved in all the leagues as well. Unfortunately, he passed away in February, and a lot of this movement came from us getting together at his memorial, and that was something that happened in March. And we all kind of were in the same space, looking at it and thinking the same thing. And that's kind of what brought us to where we are today. So as we continue here, I just wanted to do that little aside there and give you guys a little bit more of a background on myself. But as we move ahead, the rink system is essentially the boards and the glass. This could also be scaled down to chain link, which it is right now. That would be less of a cost. As you can see, the range there is mostly due to the either option for glass or option for chain link. The final item is a canopy, which has been missing at the rink in Shrub Oak and is one of the chief reasons for the state of the site today. Rain, snow, ice, all kinds of different forces of nature have been, playing on that rink, as well as UV, and also as well as frost wedging, getting in there, and over the years making that bird bath in the middle of the rink that you guys can see pictured here. That's something that you wouldn't have to worry about, for quite a while. You wouldn't have to worry about it at all. You'd have to worry about the canopy itself. And we do feel that there are ways to mitigate that cost that we have outlined right there. We do plan on pursuing some sort of partnership with a potentially solar company to put some solar panels on the roof of that canopy, which would be able to sustain those. We have built that into the budget, a structure that is capable of supporting the weight of solar panels and leveraging potentially their investment in the solar panels, but also potentially a partial investment in this structure. So we do have some cost-saving measures, but the grant that we are seeking is a matching grant, and it's a $675,000 total that would be matched. That would have to be matched by the municipality, and that would give us a total budget for this project of about $1.35 million. And this right here, all of these costs represent $1.3 million. So we do think there are ways that we can significantly save on some of these options, some of these items, but at the end of the day, we are right in that ballpark we need to be.
Where's this grant?
So do we have a slide about the grant?
Yeah, pretty sure it's the next
All right, so we'll go to the next slide.
It's not.
So Jim and Matt.
Next slide after this.
Yeah.
You wanna speak about this?
It's flooded a lot, hasn't it?
Jim and Matt, real quick.
That's
Like,
another issue that
let's
came
just
up
say
with
it goes to
recognition.
ice in December. Like, how are you gonna do security overnight and stuff like that on it? How do you stop the midnight?
There yet with the ice. The ice is another phase, so if you let this play out, we'll get.
Jimmy.
Okay.
Mike.
Come on, Tim.
Yeah. Pat,
Jim,
let's
Mike.
let's
Like
let
an
this
amateur?
play out a little bit, and you'll
Yeah, no,
get some of those
okay.
questions answered.
To answer that for you, the laying the groundwork with the foundation is so you can do it right the first time. Once you lay the slab, and plumb
100%.
piping's in there. So down the road, we bring the sport back to the town. We offer different programs the town uses. So this facility literally becomes used year round, probably every day, which is actually what this slide is. It basically becomes used for, like, they play box lacrosse there now currently because you can't really skate on it. So it's actually used by box lacrosse, and people play soccer in there. You can use this for anything other from street hockey to ball hockey to intro. You can do ice way down the road. You can do learn to skate, which actually used to be done when I was younger by Ken Cavino, if anyone remembers him, way down the line. You can use it for literally, you can do a movie night under the rink. You can do anything you want in here. So it really becomes a valued asset to the town for just about any event beyond the sport you want to do. It just lays the groundwork for us. So down the road, it can become a revenue gain for the town to be at a cost savings or at a profit to run a facility now year round. There's not that many ice rinks around here. The only two you have, actually three, you have in this immediate area is Brewster Ice Arena, Western Skating Academy in Elmsford, and Bear Mountain State Park, which is seasonal. Town of Cortland does have ice. It's a synthetic ice, but it's for like a public skate. It is not a revenue kind of
Move up, Matt.
Oh, sorry. It's a public skate, not a revenue kind of gaining thing the town of Cortland does. So this would be, if to have a dual purpose and multi-sport complex really in a single place would make Yorktown like a very desirable place for just about any sport or activity.
I have a concern about this site in terms of just the history of it, in terms of flooding issues and how we protect the rink from that perspective.
And that's all going to be done through a lot of engineering as once they kind of dig into it. We all know the history of that rink. It was basically filled from the JV Mall, if I remember correctly, which is the mud hole was the original name, which is why the ball field's a mud hole. That was a swamp, and then the swamp was literally filled by fill from the JV Mall at the time when it was built in the 70s or 80s, right? If I remember correctly.
70s.
So we're going to move on to the grant opportunity that's
Sure.
Actually going to fund the construction. So the grant that we've identified is the New York State's Environmental Protection Fund grant. This project we've dug through. It fully aligns with the guidelines for the grant, which is the New York State Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan. The recreation plan specifically mentions using these funds to construct ice and roller rink infrastructure because these projects are usually cost prohibitive for small towns and municipalities to, do on their own. As we mentioned before, it's a 50-50 matching grant opportunity. So the maximum award is $675,000, which would have to be matched $675,000 by the town. But this is a significant investment that is possible from the state in a really long neglected part of Yorktown, in a park that has been sitting incomplete for many years. I mean, there's been a lot of progress with, the resurfacing the pool or redoing the pool in the recent years. So this really would be the end-all, be-all of Shrub Oak Memorial Park to finish it off. Exactly.
I have some, you have more slides? Because I have questions for you guys.
Yeah, so this is going to answer a lot of the questions about the real ice. So this is our ambitious part right here, because at the end of the day, there is above and beyond the grant. We do hope and we are going to push very hard to raise more money, and that is going to go to phase 2, which is real ice, and that entails us having a plant and a refrigeration unit to keep that ice cold throughout the period of, let's say, September through probably about April or May. We'd be able to have that as an ice sheet. And then in the time that it isn't ice, we'd melt that, and it would be a nice polished concrete slab that would be able to host roller hockey as well as all of the other events that we mentioned as well.
Just one quick question. So, like, you have it iced, it's open sides, has the canopy on it. What's stopping kids from jumping over?
Well,
that's my point.
What we really,
I'm just from a liability side for the town.
Of course.
Yeah. So there's two pieces to that, Patrick. Currently, there is a lock on the current board, so this would be locked in and it'd be locked, so you wouldn't be jumping over the boards and the glass to get into that ice space. Also, what?
Why not?
Why not?
Everyone's as big as you.
The other piece of the ice specifically, the thought on the commission level was to RFP for the refrigeration and have someone managing that space and have them take the liability insurance and things of that nature. So that process, what we're trying to do right now with this grant is create that infrastructure to have that ability to do phase 2, which would then be having someone come in and paying for that refrigeration and managing that ice time. We're not really for sure. No, and I want to be clear. We'd also fence off that area from people with ice as well. But
no, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great idea.
Oh, absolutely. And, that was, and I appreciate Jim for doing that, because, at the end of the day, that is something that we've really thought about, the public-private partnership that will probably be needed to steward this kind of project forward. Think of what you guys are doing right now with the 9-hole golf course, which is very close, to that rink. And it's something that I think, is kind of thinking outside the box in some aspects, but, for an ice facility, you do need somebody who is a dedicated owner, operator, somebody who's going to be there and steward this, the proper way. And I think that that's something that's going to be very, very palatable, but also very, very, it's going to be an opportunity that people aren't going to have in this area. All the ice rinks in this area were built in 2001, 2000, and I think 2001 might be the last rink that was built in Westchester, Putnam, or Rockland. So just keep that in mind. If we're 25 years removed from the last new ice rink, I mean, anybody would be chomping at the bit to manage a facility like this, state-of-the-art facility. The last phase I want to highlight here is something that, we've really looked for, we've wanted, and as somebody who's used Shrub Oak Park for quite a while, at least the last 25 years that the rink's been there, we haven't had access to bathrooms. So being there all day, being there for even a few hours is difficult, especially with kids, when you don't have a bathroom to access, and that's something that we want to bring, along with a potential for a concessions stand, something like that. Think about what you guys have at Granite Knolls, like those prefab buildings. We visited that site, and we thought that might be something that we could employ here.
And just to add to that, another idea I possibly had as well was possibly retrofitting the current bathrooms up at the Shrub Oak Pool. Those pool bathrooms are original build. So when we did the reconstruction in 2001, we built a new rink, but we did not do new bathrooms. So those bathrooms are, as old as they come, over at Brian J. Slavin Aquatic Facility. So, maybe you could...
You mean you built a new pool? You built a new rink?
We redid the pool. We built the rink,
Okay,
but we never redid the bathroom. So those bathrooms are from the 70s.
Yeah.
So, we could possibly retrofit those.
Have they changed the way you use them since then?
They haven't. But they have changed the bathrooms
I know
since
they
then,
have.
for sure.
Would you be able to have entrances on the outside and the inside of the pool?
That's the
if
thought
you did
process.
that?
And we're so far ahead here in this process, but we'd have to look into all that and see what we could do in that. But it's just an idea, spitballing of, how can we utilize a current asset, improve a current asset, but also utilize it for a secondary use. If you had big games there and you needed bigger locker rooms, that may be a fix to that.
Who gets to drive the Zamboni?
Well, that's actually part of the Real Ice in Phase 2. $150,000 will go to a Zamboni ice resurfacer, which will be necessary for a top-tier facility, which we expect this to be. Now, I just wanted to make sure that I'm making this absolutely clear. We do not have there isn't a time that ticks from the end of Phase 1 to Phase 2. If that is 9 months, we would love for that to be the case, but it might be 4 or 5 years. But at the end of the day, we have a situation where in the interim, that grant will allow us to use a facility in the meantime, and that will be a year-round facility. I just want to make that clear.
Real quick, so you're
Yeah,
saying like it's right now, the first screen they had, it's like 1.3, we'll just round off.
Right.
And now it's going to be 1.6?
Right.
Okay.
So it would be, actually, to get the ice would be 1.6.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, to
the
get,
the end-all goal would be 1.6. To start the process is going to be 1.3-ish.
Hold on. If you had an RFP, it would be positive dollars.
I get all that.
An
I'm just- I'm
RFP,
talking
they'd be
dollars-
paying that
dollars on the
500,000.
screen.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Ideally,
dollars.
my dream would be you pay the 1.3.
Yeah.
Then you start having revenue coming in through the RFP, and they're paying that 500,000 for the refrigeration and for that Zamboni. I don't want the town necessarily putting up those dollars. I'd rather bring dollars in. So
Can that canopy have solar on it?
It
They
absolutely
spoke
can.
about
That's
that.
one of the things that we.
They said that. They
That's one
they
of the things
set
that
up
we
for it, yeah.
really made sure that we were explicit about telling them that we wanted to have that capability, right? Because if it doesn't have that capability, then it's putting us in a position where the electricity costs might become an issue. Now, if they're mitigated by solar, if they're also mitigated by things like geothermal, if they're mitigated by things like heat recapture with respect to the cooling system, we can really lower the cost, and we can really make this, you can have a profit on this rink in the first few years as opposed to having it in the first 5 to 10 years, which is common for, regular builds, standard builds on ice rinks.
So, looking forward to the future still. Well, before I get to the actual content of this slide, I do want to mention it was the original plan when the town first decided to build the rink in 2001. The original plan did include bathrooms, a concession stand, and they were going to turn it into an ice rink down the road. None of those three things happened, but it was the plan. How we're going to do that has definitely changed. After this grant allows us to finish Phase 1, Phases 2 and 3 are going to be a bit more difficult, right? So we have a myriad of opportunities to secure more funding. From future grant opportunities, there are several from the NHL, from USA Hockey, and then also from specific teams, as well as a New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Climate Smart Communities grant, which is specifically mentions in that grant application that it is used to purchase high-efficiency chillers for ice rinks. So again, another grant that perfectly fits the bill for the future fundraising. And as we've mentioned multiple times tonight, the opportunity for a public-private partnership to secure future funding, and also the grassroots fundraising. When we posted our petition just 2 months ago, we had people donating to the petition to get the petition more clicks on change.org. That wasn't even for the construction of a rink, but people were already willing to open up their wallets and donate hundreds of dollars so that more people would see the petition in the first place. And we also have ideas for how we can be helpful in raising those funds. We've talked a lot about hosting a first responders face-off at the rink, bringing out the players from the fire department and the police department in local towns to raise some money. And we actually had a pretty late-breaking development, maybe only 2 or 3 hours ago. We spoke to JG Glass over at Empower Play Project, which is a consultancy firm that comes highly recommended from the Carolina Hurricanes, who we spoke to a couple months ago. And they would be a good contact for future fundraising because they offer services specifically to build ice rinks where they will help find the funding and then follow the project through to completion. And they only do this with ice rinks. They've been doing it for over 20 years, completing rinks, not just all across the country, but even rinks internationally, securing the funding and seeing the project through.
So do you guys have the grant now, or
No.
you're coming to get the okay to go? Okay.
Can we get a grant?
Which
writer
brings
now?
us to our last and final slide of us requesting a formal approval from the town board for this grant application. We would also ask if you could please provide us letters of support to strengthen the grant application. We already have about 10 from just people in the community, people who saw our post on Facebook. We're hoping that we can get some from you guys, from the Rec Commission. We all plan to write some as well. The more letters, the better, to show that there's support behind this and buy-in, from our local leadership.
Did we already talk about our grant writer helping, assisting them?
Well, I mentioned it the other day, but we'll get.
Yeah. Cassandra and I have been working with Tara currently on this grant, and we already have something almost ready to go with Tara, and it's due on
We can
July.
write letters. I'll be happy to write a letter.
It's due on July 31st, so that's why we're here at this meeting, so we have your blessing to move forward with Tara.
I already emailed you guys about it, but I will reply again, so it will be at the top of your inbox.
Great.
Yeah.
Let me
there
hit.
was one more.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, go on.
Did you want to? The third one?
We've kind of.
We kind of talked about it already.
Yeah, we've already talked about it already. I spoke to Superintendent Paganelli to see if what the town can help with. There's some stuff they can help with, they can't help with, but like we've said, the reuse and recycle, they use the millings for other things, so they can take it, pass it along. So even though we are potentially ripping up a rink, it can absolutely be reused at any other town park or traded for anything the town needs still. So Dave said they do it commonly or frequently.
Yep.
So it's
And
not
concrete is actually considered fill, so.
Yep. So we are going to still see a benefit from even breaking this rink down and put a new one in.
Right.
And I know Parks already, we hadn't been talked about, but Parks previously was looking at putting money back into this rink already. This just furthers that. So it's not just a simple fix, it's taking this 10 steps further.
Well, for the record, we'd be better off having no rink than this dilapidated rink, even though the work was done. So I'm all in favor of either fixing it or getting rid of it. So, and I do prefer fixing it because I'm a big hockey fan too. Only when I was a kid, it was all ball hockey, and my equipment was like cardboard or newspaper stuffed into my vest or whatever.
I really can't
when
imagine
I
you
goaltended.
on skates.
I'm not. No,
That
it
would
wasn't
be
skate. It was ball
hysterical.
hockey. I'm not. I can't
really,
skate.
yeah.
I can't
Very
skate
graceful.
with
Like a
anything.
ball
Yes.
on roller skates.
Graceful as a walrus. So I have some questions to hit. You spoke about the Friends of and money coming in for the petition. What kind of balance do you guys have, and what are the plans? And I assume you're expecting to use Friends of money towards some of the grant match, correct?
So with the
Whoever's going to answer, come to the mic.
Okay, sorry. Bad foot here. So with the petition, what Chance was referring to was that people who sign the petition, you have the option to donate the petition so that you can get more eyes on it and get more signatures. That money goes through change.org. That does not go directly to us or whoever is putting the petition together, right? So that, just to promote the petition, I think there was it was $568. Again, just to promote, not to
Okay. No, that's
build.
fine.
But I think that definitely speaks to how interested people are in this if they just are doing it for the promotion, right? Now, for any money that we raise through our Friends of, this is only something that we started the Friends of in April. So we are very fresh into this, and we are looking to hold some fundraising events, like Chance mentioned on the previous slide, like the First Responders Face-Off, get people more interested and get them to maybe open their wallets. So we don't have anything just yet, but again, this
Okay,
is
no, but that's a thought
couple
process.
months.
And then, I believe, you spoke about some different fundraisers and the first responder face-offs. I assume you're not gonna wait until this, but do, like, down in White Plains or wherever wherever you would,
We were actually,
step up to the mic so we could hear you.
We've finished our paperwork to be a 501c3 and just for our group, and we've actually been working a lot with Friends of Yorktown Parks and Rec.
Yep.
They've been frankly our mentors through this to kind of help us because they have the intimate knowledge of Parks and Rec system and the fundraising aspect in town. So they're kind of helping us through this, and then eventually we are currently, but they're really helping us do a lot, and then we'll be our completely own standalone, non-for-profit, really designed for this rink and the entire sport around it. The First Responder Face-Off, I'm gonna eventually probably have to pull up permits for it and everything. We're looking to do it in like mid to late September. We actually can host it there. The genesis of this, the idea of it is very simple. Ball hockey, like we all grew up playing, because only half of the rink is really usable, quite frankly. We're gonna only half of it do like 3-on-3 with a goaltender. So a bunch of firefighters and cops I've already spoken to from a couple of different departments. The goal is to have about 4 to 6 teams and make it a fundraiser. And if it grows organically through that, I think it will.
Maybe we need to start a team.
Yeah, you guys should have a team.
You guys, listen, we could.
Susan, you in goal?
Absolutely.
Susan's on goal.
Susan, you play, I'll play.
I mean, you have an entire team right here on the board. I'm just saying.
all right.
I already know, like, the fire department, Yorktown Fire, we can absolutely field at least 1 to 2 teams. Yorktown PD, I've been in contact with Mohegan and Peekskill Fire and Carmel PD. So we already have a couple of regional departments here, and just through the first responders that have played at that rink, you have a pretty decent following. So
That sounds great. So
First,
do we have
there are enough people out there ready to crash the boards with us.
do we need a formal? Yeah, right.
Let me finish.
No, I
the
have
question.
some questions. I have some
Oh, okay.
comments
All right.
and
So-
some questions before.
No,
we-
Ed's not done yet either.
So I'm assuming that with the RFP and the plans for concession bathrooms, I'm assuming you're considering a skate shop too? In that,
We hadn't.
we
okay.
originally did not, but down the road, if that becomes like the need, we could always build it out for that. If that becomes like the problem we have down the road, that's the best problem we
Yeah,
have.
because you'd love for others to be able to use it who might not have skates and might.
That also could become like a local business in town that starts to flourish. Because if there's the need here,
Yep.
somebody may reopen, like Frank owned a hockey shop. Somebody may reopen a hockey shop because just like sports
Yeah.
barn is for lacrosse and baseball.
Right.
There's a niche and a need. There's a business opportunity there for somebody, like a car wash.
And I do know that income level wise, the ice time is a
Ice-
good. So someone would be interested RFP wise.
Oh yeah.
But have you broached like the schools yet about this or?
We really haven't. From talking to a couple of kids I know that still some on the teams, Yorktown sadly kind of merged in with, I think it's Yorktown, Somers, North Salem, and Brewster. A lot of us aged out, and then you saw, because
Yeah,
hockey's
it's like
expensive
Bison.
sport.
What's it called?
Yeah, it's Briarcliff, Yorktown,
Yeah, Bisons.
Somers, North Salem, I believe. It's Briarcliff, and they actually went to sectionals this year. They did really well.
Yeah.
I
went to a couple of games.
Yeah.
They're playing at Booster Ice.
Yep, they still play at Brewster. You might see that resurgence. Like when I grew up, and we grew up. This rink was kind of flourishing. Yorktown and Lakeland Lake Panhandle all had really competitive teams, and that was a kind of a testament to this rink. It was basically the little gateway to ice hockey. Rollovers, basically the entry to hockey. It's the cheapest way to get into the sport, which is unfortunately very expensive. But when you get players in at a young age at a very kind of low cost relatively, you very well might see that resurgence in the local level of Yorktown.
That would be great.
Our practice time at Brewster was 9:40 to 11:30 at a high school level. So if you have the ability down the road to have a rink you can host practice at, you will absolutely see
Well, that,
resurgence
well,
of
that
volleyball.
brings me to another thing is, which is, is there a plan to talk to the neighbors in that neighborhood? Let them know what the plans are, to hold an informational, because you got this one, Jimmy? Go on.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're here tonight, right? We're here tonight to look to get the grant, and just because we're going for the grant doesn't mean we're fully committed to the project. But having that canopy also limits light as well. There'll be lights underneath the canopy to light, so it actually be less light than they currently have there with the lights that we have, the Musco sports lighting that we have.
But we're gonna have you're gonna have sticks, over here, pass here. You're gonna have, you're gonna have your vocals.
And the speed bumps that are there are from this original rink, right? So that's why those speed bumps are there to slow cars down coming in.
Right. Okay.
And they're no strangers to traffic. They have the pool there.
No, I understand that, but pools don't have 11:40.
For sure. No, I mean
ice times.
No, I think we'll operate it similar to what we run our fields throughout town. I don't think we're going to be having, anything outside of our normal 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. max, and as earliest I think we're 7 a.m. in some fields. So we're not going to be, operating outside of our normal, sport field hours. So that, as far as I'm concerned, that's a commission question as well. Yeah, they agree with that.
And then I think just something for the commission to think about, and seeing if we can do it similar to Granite Knolls, especially if we just get to ball hockey at this point, and we're raising money towards that next step. Board advertising, just jumped in my mind, and okay, so you guys have been on that.
And what about do you give a discount for local teams,
Well,
aka Yorktown /
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be having that if there's ice time. If we get to that level in that RFP, we can write that into the RFP that certain time needs to be carved out for public skate as well as local teams. So that's something that we've done in previous RFPs, and we would do there. Once again, we're getting way ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but that would be the goal if we did get to an RFP stage, to make sure that the town is being able to utilize that asset. Why are we doing this if our town people are not utilizing it?
And Jimmy, I'd be extremely happy that we're asking questions for that far down the road versus saying, yeah, no, see you, have a good night.
Yes, absolutely.
Susan, you had some questions?
Yeah, first I just want to say kudos to you again. I heard your presentation at the Rec Commission, and a superb job of planning and organizing and getting support. Just absolute kudos. I have different types of questions, and they're really questions for the Rec Commission, and I'm glad two members are here, plus Jim. One set of questions for you, and then another set of questions for my colleagues here on the town board. You've made a phenomenal case for the need for hockey. I'm not disputing that. Okay, it's just a given, and I accept that as a total non-sports person. All right. My question for the Rec Commission is, what are your priorities, and how do you assign priorities? Is it the safety of our existing facilities? Is it accessibility to make sure that everyone can access what we have? And is it providing a diversity of sports, like adding the hockey component? And then we're talking about roughly a $675,000 match. I'm talking only the match portion. Forget about the grant, even though we have to lay out the money, but we're talking about that. There's also there are people wanting to do a grant for a sensory trail. There are also talk, and I have no idea what it's about, for a New York Hicks or Knicks,
Kicks.
New York Kicks.
Soccer.
Soccer. All right. The town has been trying twice to get a grant for Downing Park for drainage, accessibility, and parking. And the feedback that I've been hearing is people in the state like it, but we haven't gotten the grant twice. And do we want to submit? Do we want to keep submitting? Sometimes you have to keep trying. So those are 4 potential grants. So Plus, we have a grant already out to rehabilitate the playground at Railroad Park, so we don't know if we're going to get that. So my question is, one, what would the total match be if we went for all of these grants? Or what is your priority? As a non-sports person, I look to you to say, I've got competing needs. This is your capital projects list. It's impressive. You can see new stuff plus rehabilitating other stuff. We've just spent roughly $800,000 to rehabilitate the pool at Shrub Oak. We're now going to spend $809,000 to pave the parking lot at Granite Knolls. As homeowners, we all know this is what we'd like to do, and then reality, we have to kind of squeeze. So I need to know from you, with one grant already out and 4 possible grants, which do we go for? Can we spend all of that? And then the second question to my colleagues here is, sports are very important to Yorktown, and we spend a lot of money on sports, and I'm okay with that. But how much money is this board prepared to spend on recreational money? This all comes out of fund balance, and how much for road repair, for culvert repair, for building repairs, because we have to make some trade-offs. We can't fund everything that everyone comes. And at the next meeting, we're going to get the sensory trail people here. Very compelling case, as compelling as yours. And so, do we just say yes, yes, yes? I don't think we should just apply for grants with no intention of really going ahead and fund it. We should be serious that if we're going to get the grant, we're going to go ahead with this project. Correct. So I need feedback from you in terms of setting priorities, because I don't think you're going to do all 4 grants this year. Yep. All right. And then how much from the town board? How much are we willing to spend? $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million for the match?
We got the question. So I think that's more of a Jim question than a commission question. No offense to the commission there. Yeah. But I think we go for all of them, because what you're putting forward is, and telling me, is that'd be an amazing problem to have. If we get 4 grants and all of a sudden we have to make a hard decision of which ones we're actually going to fund, that'd be amazing. But I've gone for a lot of grants since I've been here, and I've only gotten a very few of them.
Yeah, we
like
all
maybe
know
10%.
Yeah, applying for a grant doesn't necessarily mean you have it. Your premise sounds
most likely you're not going to get it. I mean, you're lucky if you're batting 100, with these grants.
And I will use something that we should, an appropriate quote for this: you miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Yeah.
So, as the great one said. So.
Well, are you planning to go for the Downing Park grant, which I think was the first one was $750,000. I don't know what your match was, and I don't know what if you're planning to do it again, what your match is there, and is that still a high priority?
That grant we were actually denied the last time we went.
We were denied the second time,
that was months ago. We just got the letter back that we did not get it this past time we went for it.
I think if you apply for all of them and you get one of them, that'll help you prioritize, because you're going to take the money that you get for free, and we're going to see what. Yeah, I mean,
Susan's proving the point of going on to all of them. To be honest with you, is you don't know if you're going to get it. You have to reapply.
Yes.
For grants on and on. The odds of the slot machine dumping out 4 or 5 grants at the same time is slim to none.
I wish.
So I personally think that we can, but I like I said, I think that it's really important, and people don't realize. Yes, the roads are important, but so is our recreation for our kids. Yep. Our sports, our activities, and they raise funds as well. And this is something that, this in particular is something that will bring new money into the town, hopefully.
Yeah,
we should be applying to anything and everything that we could get our hands on. I mean, as opposed to like picking and choosing, saying, yeah, there's a grant out there for $500,000 to do X. Nah, let's not bother with that. I say you put them all in and then you figure it out. And it's not uncommon for us to have a lot of balls in the air, where we're doing roads, we're doing recreational stuff. We did it all the time. I really don't understand the question, but.
Well, it's my question that is related to what I've said earlier, that we need a capital plan. We have to say, if I'm going to spend $5 million, we have roughly $24 million available to spend. And I keep saying, let's have a plan. It's flexible. It's not set in concrete like your slab, okay? And it changes over time as certain needs, come. But
I understand.
But
So you're
this is
taking
how-
this opportunity to talk about the capital plan, which we know that the planning board is already meeting on. I think we're off topic. We're here to discuss the roller rink, and I think we should stay on topic with the roller rink. I mean, I'm sorry, but I get it. I understand about the capital plan. We've had this discussion. You even said to me that they're not talking about it. Then at the next meeting, you said they did meet. So I mean, you're all over the place with it. I think we're here. They're here, and we should respect their time. And they want to talk about it. And I get with the capital plan, and we are working on it. You know we are.
And with my capital plan specifically, there's a portion where it says what grant we're going for which project. That needs some updating as well. But that's something that we need to be very clear in identifying that, this specific rink, we're going for this CFA grant, and making sure that we are knowing that which grant we're going for. Because you want to strike a couple times for that grant again, because you may not get it the first go around, but you may get it on the second or third swing.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, correct.
So you need approval from us. Step one, a formal approval from the town board to support you guys going out and getting the grant.
Correct.
How do we facilitate? How do we facilitate that? Do we need a vote for that?
I don't think you need a vote. You just kind of need a blessing. We were going to go for it anyway. There's other grants that I go for without coming before the town board, but we want to let the town know that this is a project.
I'm going to speak for myself only. You have my blessing on it. You have to speak to the rest of the.
And I appreciate your coming before us, Jim, but you know my philosophy already, and that's what we've been. And I've had this discussion with our board, which is it's the executive's decision to go for grants, and then if we win something, it's the decision of the town board to fund it or not.
You may come, maybe water needs a new water tower at the time that this grant comes through.
And
And
we
you may
can't.
tell me, "Sorry, Jim, I know you guys put a lot of effort
Or
in."
we try to hold off on it.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of different things, so.
Well, so are we going,
do we-
because from the grant writer, I was told that she's working on Sensory Trail and the hits.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that, and then I'm asking you, are you going for a third submission on Downing?
I'm swinging for it all.
So we're going for all of those. And just to clarify something, you said, I think it's the board's decision which grants we apply for, and it should be a board discussion
Lonnie,
like
did
we're
you
having
ever-
tonight.
Did you ever bring it up to
You
the
said-
board?
No, you said,
You-
said
no,
the CEO decides and we just vote to
Yeah,
spend the money.
but that's what
After we
I
get
have
the
another
grant.
supervisor who's done the same thing, and you know what? I have enough respect, or had enough respect when Lonnie was sitting in this chair, that if he said, I want to apply for something, great.
Yeah.
You know what? Free money to the town, which really isn't free, it's out of our tax dollars, we should try to get. And the problem is if we keep putting off, and maybe we get something after the fourth time, but if we don't apply now as year one and have to wait till the fourth time and say we wait 4 years to start applying for it, all of these costs are out the window. So do we want to, you want to give blessing?
Yes.
Honestly, we're
Yes.
off
Yes.
we're off topic,
I'm gonna answer
right?
one of Lonnie's questions as well.
There's nothing that precludes any one of us on the board to going up to the supervisor and saying, Mr. Supervisor, you please don't roller skate, number one. Number two, I would like to apply for this one grant or this particular grant. And I highly doubt Ed is gonna be turn around and say, nah, I don't think we need the money. You know what I'm saying? So and I think it's that simple. It doesn't have to
If
be
it's a-
mired in a process
Right.
that's just cumbersome
Well,
and just bloats government. So
All right,
And
so.
Lonnie, you had a question about drainage on the location.
Right.
So Matt and I met with a few different contractors there. We will have to
Raise the
it,
slab.
and then we'll probably rotate the current existing where it is and kind of keep it away from that flooded area.
Okay.
The current rink never was placed drainage in it as well. That's why you're getting those bird baths.
Right.
So a drainage plan will need to be engineered as well.
Okay.
And that's going to be part of that initial cost as well for
Right.
an engineer to put the plan together for us as well.
As
Do you have a
far-
site plan to include with the application?
Not at this moment. It's not needed.
Well, It's not needed?
We don't need a full engineered site
Not,
plan.
not a full engineer, just even a concept plan?
Yeah, I believe we have the
Is
concept
that
plan.
going to be included?
We have a budget, and we have the components that we were told were necessary right now.
Frank, you want to come up?
Sorry.
The more
You're
information
following the
you
grant process, and
Right,
you're
we do-
submitting what is required by the grant application.
That's correct. And I do want to mention that all of the entities that we're working with, and in particular, the Custom Ice Rinks, Inc., they will do the engineering for us for this package. They are putting in all of the components for the rink. They will be doing the engineering as well.
Are you guys working with our grant writer?
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
Amen.
All right, so you're in good hands.
I want to thank you. I think it's been said a little bit already, but this town is so fortunate to have volunteers that come forward with concepts and devote time that a lot of people aren't willing to do. And I thank you and I applaud you for all the work you've done.
Well, I'll even go a little further because I know that park in particular, and Jim used to swim with my daughter there on the swim team. And here you see the next generation of Yorktown saying, I loved Yorktown that much, and I want that same thing for my kids. It's a beautiful thing, and it's really what that circle of life should be about. And it's very commendable. Absolutely right, Lonnie.
We really appreciate your appreciation. We've worked very hard on this. It's a labor of love. And, just coming before you guys tonight, we obviously didn't want to spend the town's money without asking you guys. We didn't want to assume that you guys weren't going to be behind this without bringing this forth. So we thank you very much for, giving us the opportunity here and working with us.
Thank you very much, guys.
Well, before you guys leave, just show of hands, blessing to go forward.
Yeah.
Okay? Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, into resolutions. Personnel, accept the resignation of Janie Becerra from the Highway Department effective July 10th, 2026. Good luck to you, Jamie. From the Highway Department, release escrow deposit for completed work at 3751 Wildwood Street. From the Parks and Recreation Department, award the bid for parking lot paving project for the Tom Diana parking at Granite Knolls. And be it further resolved, the controller is authorized to process the following budget transfer of $809,000. The bid is awarded to Cerrone Construction, Inc.
You should probably just explain at a very high level, because that's a lot of money, what they're doing. They're going down like 2 feet and taking that fill and moving
Right.
it someplace else.
Yep, they're going down 2 feet, removing fill, then they're gonna do a porous parking lot with a pervious roadway through it, so that does not get deteriorated, since that'll have most of the action on it. And then the idea is to also take that fill to add additional parking on the north side of the fields, or the parking lot, and then to also make a trailhead parking area down below. Now, this is all under DEP review, but I have had advanced conversations with DEP, and we're looking at approval by August 1st.
And it's also part of, when you talk about why it costs so much, it's an unfunded mandate. But in order to do what we want to do,
You have to use
we
the-
have to
the-
comply with all the DEP,
pervious- yep.
DEP regs.
You should also just note it historically that if we had rebid the project to put a solar canopy over the parking lot, they would have paved it as part of the project. They would have paid for the paving, and we would have gotten revenue generated from the solar energy. But this board did not want, after we had problems
Thank you,
with
Susan.
the
Yes.
first bid.
Yep.
the
Always
first-
division.
No, the first
Go on.
bidder,
Okay.
and I have suggested that we go out and we rebid just for the canopy, but this
And-
board did not want to.
Correct.
Did not want to do the canopy.
So-
So
Well, I wouldn't say that this, I'm only on the board for
Oh,
6
yeah,
months,
and-
and,
right.
and to tell you the
But,
truth, I would have liked, I was here when we initially came up with the concept, but we didn't have whoever we came up with at the time was not a responsible bidder, and I don't know whether or not we would have gotten a,
Right.
and there is a need for this, the repair of this parking lot.
There is. It's about the-
I have no problem, or would have had no problem of trying to go forward to try to,
Yep.
do
But
it in
then,
the same
but with
way.
the newer board, it came up with the issues with the taking away from the views at Granite Knolls and having the commercialization of the solar, which also was a big push on the board when we were talking about it in residential neighborhoods as well. People want the aesthetics, and maybe we were a little short-sighted when we took the first one, but they sort of helped us to not be able to do it.
Well, they
And maybe
waffled on a
that's
bunch of stuff.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were gonna give us 500 grand. They weren't gonna give us the 800 grand, so that's inaccurate.
All right.
So they were gonna give us the 500 grand, then they changed their number, they kept going back and forth, then they dropped off all the equipment to do the solar panels, then they never showed up. I mean, it was a mess.
Yes. Authorized budget transfer volleyball court project at Tom Diana Park at Granite Knolls, $25,000 into the Park Land Trust. From the police department, authorize the town supervisor to execute an agreement with Westchester County for the provisions of a youth development program. From the town attorney's office, authorize the supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Yorktown Central School District for our shared services. Authorize the supervisor to enter into a renewal of the licenses and hold harmless agreement with Yorktown Central School District for the Yorktown Central School District to use the commuter lot. From the engineering department, authorize the supervisor to sign a stormwater control facilities management agreement with Guiding Eyes for the Blind. Award the bid for the John C. Hart Memorial Library and ACCCC Digital. Actually, it's AACCCC. We're missing an A there. That's okay.
Did we get all the Cs?
For the digital sign
extra C.
installation. And Lanza Corp. did not include the masonry work in their bid. They withdrew their bid. Complete Sign was the second lowest bidder, and they did not provide the hardware specified, and the software included did not meet the functionality of the specified equipment. So therefore, be it resolved upon recommendation of the town engineer, the bid for the John C. Hart Memorial Library and AACCCC digital sign installation is awarded to Glowed Neon Signs at a total bid price of $122,092. And be it further resolved, town controller is hereby authorized to make the following budget transfer as enumerated below. Authorize the supervisor to sign a stormwater control facilities maintenance agreement with William Lockwood, 3849 Foothill Street, Mohegan Lake.
Is this for the solar farm?
Dan's not up here.
I'm assuming it's for the
He had told me, is William Lockwood though for the solar farm?
It was his property.
Okay. Then I will assume that is for the solar farm. I know we were talking about a couple of stormwater agreements. From the building department, release the remaining balance of payment for professional consultant services to 800 East Main Street. And that's, there's a remaining balance of $7,014.60. From the town board, authorize the town supervisor to sign an intermunicipal agreement with Westchester County for solid waste and recyclable disposals. May I have a motion?
Motion.
You gotta read it again?
No.
I would just indicate that, again, talking about the paving, of Granite Knolls. If I had my druthers, I would have potentially also, along with Susan, had potentially gone out with the concept of maybe trying to do the solar. And,
Right, can I
but
have
I
a-
know, I recognize that we don't have the majority on the board to go forward with that tonight.
Let's get the vote, and then
wanna
you can talk
let
about it. So do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And yes, no, and I.
And that's, I just want to,
No, I agree. And look, there was a lot of, after the first one and then the failure, it's sort of like, God puts you where he wants you to be. There was there was a lot of soul searching on it, and the sight lines and all. You know, you go up there. I was just up there the other day with Jim. Actually, John, you were there. Matt was there, and it was, you know, it's just spectacular to look out over there, especially on a beautiful day. Good night, ladies. Thank you. You waited all that time for the sign bid? You're killing us.
This is
All right.
exhilarating, it's exciting, that's why they waited.
That's it.
But since that time, again, you know, you see what the kind of revenue that the Croton is getting from
The train station. That's a lot more.
I know it's a lot different. It's
I'd love to look at the commuter lot in a couple of other
yeah.
places in town. Maybe even the other commuter lot by the school.
Yeah.
So there are definitely possibilities. So.
Okay.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Good night. Oh, got a
Second.
second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good night, Yorktown.
Good night, Yorktown.